Chapter 41:31. There was a self-destruct device installed in their bodies. Once their souls were searched, the self-destruct device would be activated. Now that they were all dead, the clues were suddenly cut off. Fang Chen found a copy of the spiritual void divine art from their bodies, but it was useless. He could not study it at all. In the end, he passed the copy of the spiritual void divine art to the ninth brother to study it slowly. He then integrated the two realms. A few months later, the two realms were completely under Fang Chen's control. The faith of countless living beings endlessly drilled into Fang Chen's mind. During this period of time, his strength had also improved by leaps and bounds, and even his heart force had increased by a lot. However, there was still a certain gap between him and the third level. On this day, Fang Chen appeared in the ice field of the Wandering Dragon Realm and continued to break through. During this period of time, he constantly wandered around the major forbidden areas of the Wandering Dragon Realm and the Ethereal Realm, looking for pressure and looking for a breakthrough. Currently, his cultivation had reached the perfect middle stage utmost exalted level. He was only a step away from reaching the advanced stage utmost exalted level. This time, he chose the icy domain. This was the first forbidden area of the Wandering Dragon Realm. It was snowing all year round, and at a glance, it was covered with ice and snow. There was also a very special field here. As long as one entered, their body would be out of control and would be suppressed by the field until they could not move. After Fang Chen entered the ice field with his strong physical body, he first resisted the attack of the ice, and then resisted the control of the field. At first, it was very difficult for him, but he spent 3 months successfully resisting the attack of the ice. Finally, he could adapt to the cold temperature here. At this time, he began to devote himself to the field. There was a pattern to the field, but those who did not understand the field would not be able to find the pattern at all. Fang Chen also knew little about the field. He could only rely on his strong physical strength to resist, and constantly cleanse himself in the flood-like power. Finally, after another year, he succeeded in resisting the control of the field. Rumble. On a certain day, a terrifying power shot up into the sky above the ice field, causing a phenomenon in the sky. The heaven and earth anomaly lasted for 3 months before it gradually disappeared. This scene caused a stir in the entire Wandering Dragon Realm. Many experts came to ask the Golden Dragon Palace Master what had happened. Was there an invasion from the outside? The Golden Dragon Palace Master knew that the Realm Lord was breaking through, so he sealed off all information. However, at that moment, a Hydra ship passed by the World Gap. A group of interstellar bandits saw a terrifying phenomenon through the World Gap. Hey! Could it be that a treasure has been born? One of them asked with a fiery gaze. That should be the roaming dragon world. It's not far from us. Let's go and take a look. Soon, the Hydra organization's ships sped towards the Wandering Dragon world. At this very moment, the moment the vision of heaven and earth disappeared, the power in Fang Chen's body surged. He had successfully stepped into the advanced Supreme Being level. Wang. With a single thought, the entire domain of ice was under his feet. No matter how cold the chi of ice rushed towards him, it did not affect him in the slightest. It was just that he was still unable to break the domain, but the domain of ice was also unable to do anything to him. What a magical field! Fang Chen couldn't help but sigh. It was a pity that he didn't know anything about the field, and he didn't want to learn it. After all, a person's energy was limited, and he couldn't bear more. Just as Fang Chen was sighing, he suddenly sensed that someone had entered the Wandering Dragon world through the power of the Heavenly Way. He looked through the void and found that it was the Hydra organization's ship. Interstellar bandits? Fang Chen frowned. Why would the Hydra organization's interstellar bandits come here at this time? Could it be because of the heaven and earth anomaly just now? Swoosh. Almost a moment later, the Hydra organization's ship appeared in the ice field. Several interstellar bandits walked out of the battleship and stared at Fang Chen. Who are you? The leader asked. Did you get the treasure that was just born here? Another person asked. Fang Chen shook his head. The heaven and earth anomaly just now was caused by my breakthrough. There was no treasure born. Moreover, I am also an interstellar bandit of the Hydra organization, which belongs to the same organization as you. I don't think you would attack someone from the same organization, right? As soon as this remark came out, the faces of the Hydra organization's people changed greatly. But soon, the leader's expression returned to calmness, and he asked coldly, "Vmich, you say you are from Hydra, so you are from Hydra? Who would believe that?" Crash. Fang Chen waved his hand, and a DA, who had already received the news, drove the battleship over. "There is no sign of the Hydra organization," someone said. Fang Chen explained that the reason why he erased the Hydra organization's expression was that he was chased before and was afraid that his enemies would find him. The leader nodded. Although there was no sign of the Hydra organization on the battleship, he could sense that the battleship belonged to the Hydra organization. However, just as his expression eased, he suddenly noticed something unusual. "No, I have ridden on this battleship before. It belongs to the disciple of the White Emperor Palace." As soon as this remark came out, the other people also glared at Fang Chen and asked, "Boy, you took the battleship from the disciple of the White Emperor Palace, right? You said that you were hiding from your enemies, but you were also hiding from the White Emperor Palace, right?" Fang Chen was speechless. How could he be recognized? Could it be that these people knew the White Emperor Palace? "Mph, you actually attacked someone from the same organization. This is unforgivable. I have some friendship with the disciple of the White Emperor Palace. Let me avenge him," the leader said sternly. "Boy, don't try to escape. If you know what's good for you, hand over the treasure that just appeared and everything you have. Otherwise, don't blame us for being rude." In fact, they had only met the disciple of the White Emperor Palace once. The reason why they attacked Fang Chen was firstly to befriend the White Emperor Palace. Secondly, they were greedy for the treasures on Fang Chen. After all, the heaven and earth phenomenon just now had lasted for too long and was too dazzling. They could clearly see it from the world gap. One could imagine that the treasure that was unearthed was definitely extraordinary. Therefore, they wanted to kill Fang Chen. "I don't want to fight with you. Don't force me," Fang Chen said coldly. As the lord of a realm, he was naturally not afraid of these people. However, he was worried that these people had a way to contact the members of the other organizations. Once news of him was leaked, it would cause unnecessary trouble. However, if they insisted on attacking, he would directly kill them with lightning speed. He hoped that the news would not leak out. Otherwise, when a large number of experts came, he would have to give up on the roaming dragon realm and the empty spirit realm. "Mph, how dare you be so arrogant in front of us? You are courting death." The people of the Hydra organization were furious and directly attacked. For the latest updates and error-free reading, please visit recommendation. Recommender, font size 15px, color #396dd4, padding 010px. Chapter 4132. The Hydra organization was a famous interstellar bandit organization in the 3000 realms of the Great Tao. However, this organization was relatively loose and had almost no binding force. However, because their reputation was too bad, the top giants did not allow them to exist. Therefore, they were forced to wander in the world gap. Their headquarters were also set up in the chaotic world gap. Its members liked to adventure in the world gap and search for legendary top treasures. Now, a few members of the Hydra organization were attracted by the phenomenon. Fang Chen did not want to expose his identity as a realm lord, so he took out the Hydra organization's battleship to make his stance clear, hoping that they would retreat. However, some of them had met the disciples of the White Emperor Palace and had even ridden on this battleship. Although all the aura on the battleship had been erased, they still recognized it. The members of the Hydra organization glared at Fang Chen, believing that he had snatched the White Emperor Palace's battleship. "Kid, you're really bold. How dare you touch the people of the White Emperor Palace in this area? You're courting death," the leader said coldly. "Why are you talking nonsense with him? Just kill him and snatch his treasures and inheritance. Then, take his head to the White Emperor Palace to receive the reward," another person said. "That's right. If the White Emperor Palace knows that their disciples have been robbed, they will definitely be furious." Seeing this, Fang Chen shook his head helplessly. I gave you a chance, but unfortunately, you didn't cherish it. As soon as he finished speaking, he directly used the power of the heavenly path before the members of the Hydra organization could speak. The terrifying power of the heavenly path swooped down from the entire wandering dragon realm, instantly suppressing them. Moreover, Fang Chen sealed the void and isolated all communication devices. He was worried that the news would be exposed. Oh no! Finally, they noticed that something was wrong. He's a realm lord. As soon as these words were said, a trace of fear appeared in the hearts of the others. Although the wandering dragon realm was a remote realm, someone who could become a realm lord was naturally extraordinary. He was not someone they could provoke. Brother, we were in the wrong earlier. Let us go. From now on, we will never set foot here. We are all members of the Hydra organization. Why do we have to kill each other? We promise that we won't tell anyone about you stealing the White Emperor Palace's battleship. We only ask that you let us go this once. For the sake of survival, they incessantly begged for mercy. But the pressure of the heavenly energy made their bodies unable to move at all. They could only be slaughtered. Is it possible? Fang Chen shrugged. Just now, when I tried to persuade you to leave, you insisted on attacking me. Now, all of you can stay. Only the dead could keep secrets forever. Whoosh. Under the pressure of the heavenly way, Fang Chen was the absolute ruler of the wandering dragon realm. With a flick of his finger, he pierced through the head of one of them. The latter fell limply to the ground and lost his life. Seeing this, the others became even more terrified. Let us go, and we can give you cultivation resources in exchange. They took out all the cultivation resources they had on them, hoping that they could escape this calamity. However, none of this appealed to Fang Chen. I know that there is a cave abode of a powerful being nearby. There are countless opportunities inside. I can tell you everything I know. The leader of the group shouted. Poof! A few consecutive finger radiances killed all the other members of the Hydra organization, leaving only the leader alive. He was so scared that he was trembling. That cave abode is said to be left behind by a super powerful being in the 3,000 realms of the Great Path, he kept shouting. At the same time, he took out a rag and threw it to Fang Chen. This is a map. If you don't believe me, I can take you there, the leader said. Fang Chen took the map and suddenly found that the red dot in the center of the map was not far from the wandering dragon realm and the ethereal realm. It was in the gap between the two realms. Moreover, it was said that there was a very strong spatial storm at the red dot. If one was not careful, they would be torn to pieces. A cave abode left behind by a super powerful being? Fang Chen suddenly became interested. A super powerful being in the 3,000 realms of the Great Path must be a top giant above the Supreme Realm. And it didn't seem to be fake. He stopped attacking and looked down at the leader condescendingly. He asked, since you have the map, why don't you go there yourself? The leader breathed a sigh of relief with a helpless look on his face. I want to go there too, but I'm not strong enough. When we got close, we were hit by a spatial storm and our battleship almost fell apart. Moreover, we vaguely saw someone in the center of the storm. Bathed in the storm, we fled in panic. Bathed in the center of the spatial storm? What kind of powerful being was this? Could it be that the super powerful being who left behind the cave abode was not dead? Where did this map come from? Fang Chen asked. We stole this map from a top force. After countless years, we finally deciphered the location of the red dot. He said that except for the few of them, no one else knew about this. Now, only Fang Chen and he knew. I am willing to make a heavenly oath. If I lie, I will die a horrible death. Seeing that Fang Chen was still hesitating, the leader immediately made the most vicious heavenly oath. After thinking for a long time, Fang Chen agreed to let him go. Take me there. Don't play any tricks. Otherwise, I will definitely die. Don't worry. The leader was filled with gratitude towards Fang Chen. As long as he could survive, he didn't care about the treasures or legacies. Tell me everything you know about this cave abode, said Fang Chen. Of course, he wouldn't blindly follow the Hydra members to explore. He had to understand it clearly before making a decision. After that, The people of the Hydra organization began by killing the cultivator of the top sect of the 3,000 realms of the Great Path and inadvertently obtained the map from him. They had been explaining it in detail. After that, in order to avoid the pursuit of that top force, they had to hide at the edge of the spatial storm for thousands of years. After that, they concealed their identities and changed their appearances before daring to return to the world gap. That sect was still searching for them all over the world as though it had gone mad. Many factions in the 3,000 realms of the Great Tao were puzzled, but only they knew that the top faction was probably going crazy because of this map. "How did you crack a map that even a top sect can't crack?" asked Fang Chen. "Actually, we didn't crack the map. We spent a lot of money to find an expert in Hydra to help us decipher it." Fang Chen's expression changed when he heard that. "However, don't worry. That expert signed a contract with us. All he did was decipher the map and not leak any information," explained the Hydra immediately. "As a member of the Hydra organization, you should also know that we have a dark net. As long as our consciousness is immersed in it, we can make virtual transactions. Almost no one in it knows our real identity in reality. We are looking for someone to decipher the map on the darknet, so you can rest assured that it is absolutely confidential." Chapter 4133. The darknet was an illusory space that completely belonged to the Hydra organization. Moreover, this was the only place where the Hydra organization could trade missions. All missions, items, and so on were carried out on the darknet. Here, people used their divine consciousness. Their real bodies couldn't enter, so they didn't have to worry about their real identities being exposed. Chimph Fang Chen snorted. Although the darknet could protect real privacy, this map was so precious. How could the expert who deciphered the map not know its value? Would he give the deciphered map to these people so easily? Obviously, it was impossible to infer from common sense. Fang Chen looked at the map seriously. He wanted to see if the expert who deciphered the map had done anything to it. For example, he left a trace of his aura and then tracked it here. In this way, even if he didn't know his real location and identity, he could still track him based on the aura left on the map. Of course, the world gap was so huge that even the top experts of the 3,000 realms of the Great Tao might not be able to cover it in their lifetime. It was very difficult to track one's aura in the vast world gap. Moreover, if the distance was too far, it was impossible to track one's exact location. This made it extremely difficult. However, there was no lack of people who had special means to track him down. As a newcomer, Fang Chen had to be careful. Otherwise, he would attract a fatal disaster. Although he had successfully broken through to the advanced supremacy realm by using the faith of all living beings in the two realms, he was still a distance away from the ultimate supremacy realm. Moreover, if an existence above the supremacy realm came, he could be destroyed with a flip of the hand. "Aren't you afraid that he did something to the map?" Fang Chen questioned. The leader shook his head. "Impossible. The darknet is very special. No item can be marked." Fang Chen didn't believe it. The leader asked Fang Chen to enter the darknet to take a look. Fang Chen pretended to be a member of the Hydra organization before, but he didn't know how to enter the darknet. He deliberately got information from the leader that every member of the Hydra organization has their own mark, and this mark is on the battleship. Fang Chen hurriedly asked RDA to search for it. Although he had erased all the imprints of the White Emperor Palace, there was still one imprint in the core control center that could not be erased. After seeing the imprint, Fang Chen directly used his consciousness to invade it. Following a flash of white light, he found that his virtual consciousness had arrived in a virtual environment. "Is this the darknet?" Fang Chen whispered. However, what he didn't expect was that when his consciousness first entered the darknet, all the experts of the White Emperor Palace were paying attention to the darknet. Many people from the White Emperor Palace had joined the Hydra organization. Fang Chen was using the darknet identity of the White Emperor Palace's young master. The White Emperor Palace had been searching for the enemy and paying close attention to his darknet identity. At this moment, the imprint of the darknet had been used by someone else, so the user was most likely the murderer. White Emperor Palace in the White Cloud Realm. Emperor Bai was the absolute expert of this realm, and also the Realm Lord. He was cultivating when suddenly, one of his subordinates rushed in to report that Bai Qiu's dark net imprint had been used. Emperor Bai, who was wearing a brocade robe, suddenly stood up. The entire white cloud realm was shaking. He didn't get angry, and a terrifying aura spread out. He directly gave an order, "Let the white crane go and see who dared to kill my son." Back then, the young master of the White Emperor Palace had led a few people into the chaotic realm by mistake, but he didn't reveal his identity. He only told Fang Chen that he was from the White Emperor Palace, and also scared Fang Chen, saying that the White Emperor Palace was the top force in the 3,000 realms of the Great Path. In reality, later, Fang Chen found out that the White Emperor Palace was actually only a little stronger than the empty spirit realm and the roaming dragon realm. In the empty virtual square, Fang Chen was receiving new information. Suddenly, an illusory figure came in front of him aggressively and asked coldly, "Who are you? Why did you kill the people of the White Emperor Palace?" The person who came was naturally the other person from the White Emperor Palace who had joined the Hydra organization, Bai He. Fang Chen frowned. He had just entered the darknet. How was he discovered by the people of the White Emperor Palace? Could it be that the person from the Hydra organization had secretly tipped them off? At this moment, Bai He sneered, "Humph, you think you can hide it from everyone?" From the moment Bai Qiu died, the White Emperor Palace had been paying attention to his dark net imprint. Now that you are the first person to come to the dark net through his dark net imprint, you are the murderer, am I right? By his words enlightened Fang Chen. Could it be that the dark net imprint left behind by the person from the White Emperor Palace that he had killed had betrayed him? However, he quickly calmed down. No one on the dark net knew the other party's information. They only had virtual titles and illusory figures. Even if the White Emperor Palace knew that he was the murderer, they wouldn't be able to find his exact location. Humph, just you wait. The White Emperor Palace won't let you off. Fang Chen entered the darknet and learned a lot of information. He also knew that the person from the Hydra organization wasn't lying. The dark net did a good job of keeping information confidential. Even so, he was still worried. He had heard his ninth brother say with his own ears that there were too many capable people in the 3,000 realms of the Great Tao. He couldn't let his guard down. After he exited the dark net, he directly engraved a new map. Then, he erased all the auras on the original map and got the members of Hydra to take the map and leave the wandering dragon world. They were to wait for his orders in the world gap. The people from the Hydra organization didn't know what this meant, but they still did as they were told. Just like that, Fang Chen secretly observed the people from the Hydra organization every day through the power of the heavenly Tao. Sure enough, half a year later, a terrifying expert suddenly attacked and killed the people from the Hydra organization and snatched the map. "Humph, you want to play with me?" The person sneered. He had left an imprint on the map. After half a year, he had tracked him down. Fortunately, the map was still intact. If it weren't for the fact that the engraved map is ineffective and can't open that cave abode, I wouldn't have bothered to kill you. Upon hearing this, Fang Chen was stunned. The engraved map couldn't open the cave abode. Could the original map be the key to opening the cave abode? He had been taking it for granted previously, but it didn't matter. He just had to secretly follow this expert and find an opportunity to enter the cave abode. After the expert obtained the map, he turned his head and looked in the direction of the roaming dragon realm. With a wave of his hand, the entire roaming dragon realm shook and almost turned into ruins. Nearly 70% of the heavenly Tao's power was lost. Fang Chen also suffered a backlash. Fortunately, he activated his heart force in time to protect himself and barely escaped the calamity. Chapter 41-34. With just a glance, the wandering dragon world lost 70% of its heavenly energy, and most of the buildings were turned into ruins. All the experts flew up into the sky, their hearts filled with fear. They would never forget that scene for the rest of their lives. What happened? Did a strong enemy invade? The Golden Dragon Palace Master was the first to rush out. He wanted to see what had happened and why the wandering dragon realm had suffered such a huge attack for no reason. However, at this moment, Fang Chen also walked out of the ruins. His heart was in turmoil. Who was that expert? Why did he turn the wandering dragon realm into such a state with just one glance? If he really wanted to attack, not to mention the wandering dragon realm, even the ethereal world together would be destroyed in a minute. Miserable screams could be heard. Those who were weak couldn't resist the terrifying attack at all. When the Golden Dragon Palace Master found Fang Chen and learned about the situation, his face turned pale. Soon, the casualty figures were calculated. Basically, half of the 9 regions had been destroyed, and the number of casualties had reached as many as 4 cities. Realm Master, the Golden Dragon Palace Master asked in a low voice. What should they do next? Would there be any danger? Don't worry. That expert has left. The Wandering Dragon Realm will not be in danger for the time being. We have lost too much heavenly energy. I will completely seal off the Wandering Dragon Realm. No one can enter or leave until the heavenly energy recovers, Fang Chen said. The Golden Dragon Palace Master nodded. Well, I will deal with the aftermath. Whoosh. The Thunder Fire Beast King and the 5 high-level Beast Kings came one after another. They also felt the terrifying power just now. It was too strong. Master, what happened? The Thunder Fire Beast King asked. Fang Chen took a deep breath and tried to calm himself down. He looked up at the 6 Beast Kings and said, the map given to us by the people of the Hydra organization was tampered with in the darknet. That person tracked us here, killed him, got the map, and turned to look at the Wandering Dragon world. Then it became like this. What? The Thunder Fire Beast King exclaimed. In terms of realm, it had reached the ultimate supreme master level and had vaguely touched the power of that level. It knew even more clearly what it meant. Just one glance destroyed nearly 70% of the Wandering Dragon realm's heavenly energy. How powerful did it take? Could he be a Dao realm expert? Above the supreme being was the Dao realm, which meant the realm of the heavenly Dao. Experts in this realm were equivalent to a world of their own, and they could derive their own heavenly Dao energy. One person was a world. However, ordinary Dao realm experts would not be able to do such a feat. They would be able to destroy 70% of the Wandering Dragon realm's heavenly energy with a single glance. The Thunderfire Beast King guessed that this expert was at least a Dao realm expert, or even higher. After coming into contact with the 3,000 realms of the Great Path, Fang Chen realized that the sovereign realm was not eternal, nor was it the end of martial arts cultivation. There was an even more powerful realm above the sovereign realm, which was called the Dao realm. The Dao realm was divided into 3 stages, namely the heaven, earth, and mortal realms. The human Dao realm was the lowest, the Dao realm was the middle, and the heavenly Dao realm was the highest. Above Extreme Supreme was the human Dao realm. Although the two were only one level apart, the difference was huge. However, according to the Lightning Fire Beast King's deduction, that expert was at least a Dao realm expert. Otherwise, it would be impossible for him to have such powerful strength. Dao realm? Fang Chen took a deep breath. With his current strength, even if he used the sky-splitting axe and heart force, he would not be able to block the attack of a Dao realm expert. However, he had to take revenge for the Wandering Dragon realm. Thinking back to the scene just now, Fang Chen's heart was filled with cold killing intent. The strong had killed the weak wantonly. This was akin to toying with life. The person just now had actually discovered him, but he did not kill him. He was just toying with him. Fortunately, he was stronger and had more tricks up his sleeve. That was why he was able to block that terrifying attack. A Dao realm expert is not someone we can provoke right now, said the Shepherd Beast King. The Thunderfire Beast King looked at Fang Chen. He wanted to tell Fang Chen to find the expert at the end of the abyss. He could definitely crush a Dao realm expert. However, he did not say it out loud. Next, we will rest and reorganize. The 6 of you will help Golden Dragon Palace Lord rebuild the Wandering Dragon Realm. I will temporarily seal the Wandering Dragon Realm and leave for a period of time. During this period, the Thunderfire Beast King will be in charge, said Fang Chen. Master, don't worry. I will definitely not let you down. After dealing with the matters of the Wandering Dragon Realm, Fang Chen made a trip to the ethereal realm. Everything was normal. After that, RDA controlled the battleship and took him away before entering the world gap. There was a vast world gap between the wandering dragon realm and the ethereal realm. In an inconspicuous place, a storm black hole suddenly appeared. Immediately after, a figure appeared. With a flick of his finger, the storm black hole exploded. In the next moment, he took out the map he had snatched and slowly unfolded it. Immediately, the power of a special mark landed on the exploding storm black hole. Not long after, an illusory cave abode appeared inside. As expected. Seeing this, the person put away the map and disappeared into the illusory cave abode in a flash. However, just as the illusory cave abode gradually disappeared, an inconspicuous black dot quietly entered it. Buzz. Fang Chen felt his vision turn white. Then, he realized that he had already entered the illusory cave abode. After looking around and confirming that he had not been discovered by that expert, he finally heaved a sigh of relief. Although he was no match for a Dao realm expert, the illusory cave abode was filled with danger. He wanted to try his luck. Besides, even if he was discovered by that expert, he still had a chance to escape. After all, the ninth brother, King Xiaoyao, owed him a favor. If there was no other way, he could only ask the ninth brother to kill that Dao realm expert. Which way should I go? After looking around, Fang Chen fell into a dilemma. There were two passageways in the cave abode. He did not know which one he should take and hesitated for a moment. If he took the same passageway as that Dao realm expert, would he meet him? Once they met, he could only ask the ninth brother, King Xiaoyao, to take action. At this moment, the Dao realm expert was overjoyed as he ran through the passageway. He had no idea that the person he thought of as an ant had secretly followed him. It's really the cave abode of a heavenly Dao realm expert. He was overjoyed. He had been stuck at the Dao realm bottleneck for tens of millions of years. If he could obtain the heritage left behind by a heavenly Dao realm expert, he would definitely be able to break through the bottleneck and successfully break through. Ha ha ha, once I reach the heavenly Dao realm, I'll be able to take back everything that belongs to me. He seemed to have already imagined the scene of him stepping into the heavenly Dao realm and sweeping through everything. Chapter 4135. A Dao realm expert was a terrifying existence above the Supreme Being realm. In the 3,000 realms of the Great Dao, anyone who could become a Dao realm expert could be considered a powerhouse. And now, Fang Chen was tailing a Dao realm expert. It wasn't an exaggeration to say that a single look from him could destroy him. However, he had some confidence. After all, his ninth brother, King Xiaoyao, had promised him that he would help once in a life-and-death situation. However, unless it was absolutely necessary, Fang Chen didn't want to waste such a precious opportunity. When he entered the cave abode, Fang Chen had already decided that he couldn't expose his identity. Otherwise, he would attract a fatal disaster. Therefore, it was very difficult for him to choose which passage the Dao realm expert should take. If he made the wrong choice and encountered him, it would be very dangerous. After weighing the pros and cons, Fang Chen finally chose the first passage. After entering, he was met with darkness. He kept advancing. And at that moment, the Dao realm expert who entered the second passage was moving at an extreme speed. In the blink of an eye, he was already tens of millions of miles away. Soon, he stepped into the end of the passage. Here, he encountered a gatekeeper. "Defeat me and you can leave the passage," the gatekeeper said mechanically. The Dao realm expert snorted coldly. His eyes spewed fire as he unleashed his strongest strength. However, what surprised him was that his destructive power couldn't shake the passage. It was obvious that this cave abode was at least left behind by a heavenly Dao realm expert. With this in mind, he became even more excited. Boom! Boom! However, no matter how he attacked, he couldn't pose any threat to the gatekeeper. After a series of attacks failed, the Dao realm expert frowned. "Are you a machine that was created?" The gatekeeper nodded. Although he was a machine that was created, he had his own consciousness. His mission was to guard this place. Furthermore, his strength was the same as the challenger. In other words, he was at the same realm as the challenger. Now that the challenger was a Dao realm expert, the gatekeeper was naturally a Dao realm expert as well. Very few people in the same realm could defeat him. Is there a time limit? The Tao realm expert asked. If there was a time limit, it would be very difficult to pass. However, he had already come this far and was unwilling to give up. Of course. If you can't pass within 3 years, you will be automatically sent out. The gatekeeper said. Hearing that, the Tao realm expert became even more anxious. In the first passage, Fang Chen also encountered the same gatekeeper. However, the gatekeeper was a high-level utmost exalted. After the two of them fought, although Fang Chen was temporarily defeated, he felt that the gatekeeper's strength wasn't much higher than his. Furthermore, he hadn't used his heart force earlier. If I use heart force, I should be able to succeed, Fang Chen thought to himself. Human, I advise you to cultivate for a period of time before coming back. The gatekeeper reminded. I've seen plenty of people like you, but I've defeated all of them. Even though my cultivation realm is the same as yours, an advanced Jizuan realm cultivator, the strength that I possess isn't something that you can imagine. Supremacy, 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 supremacy. Really? Let's give it a try. Fang Chen grinned and leaped forward. The heart force in his body instantly exploded. Terrifying heart force circled around his body, accompanying his fists as they danced in the air. Boom! When the gatekeeper was hit by Fang Chen's fist, his face suddenly changed. This is heart force. The gatekeeper was stunned. His eyes widened as he stared at Fang Chen. How could there be a spirit cultivator in this era? Moreover, he could clearly sense that Fang Chen's heart force was very special. You are a spirit cultivator? The gatekeeper asked. Fang Chen nodded. He didn't think that this person would also know about heart force. It seemed that when the master of the cave mansion was alive, he should have come into contact with the spirit lineage. Otherwise, the automatons he created shouldn't have known about it. Hua-la. To Fang Chen's surprise, he thought that he would have to fight a tough battle, but in the end, the gatekeeper gave up and let him pass. Master once said that everyone else has to defeat me to pass the checkpoint, but spirit cultivators are an exception. They can pass directly. The gatekeeper said. Seeing this, Fang Chen was overjoyed. Although he had some doubts, he left the passage as soon as possible. After Fang Chen left, a glimmer of light flashed in the gatekeeper's dull eyes. Then, his consciousness went to the second passage. Bang! In the second passage, the Tao realm expert was defeated again. He was sent flying by the gatekeeper with a punch. He was a little frustrated. He had already used his trump card, but he still couldn't do anything to the gatekeeper. Time's up. You can leave. Suddenly, the gatekeeper said. Hearing this, the Tao realm expert was completely stunned. How can this be? Didn't you say that you have 3 years? How many days has it been? The gatekeeper shook his head and said, someone passed the checkpoint, so this passage will be closed. You can only leave. What? The Tao realm expert shook his head and said coldly, impossible. I came in alone. How can someone pass through the checkpoint before me? He even asked the gatekeeper about the other party's identity and background, but the gatekeeper refused to answer and sent him away. No. The Tao realm expert struggled frantically, but it was to no avail. The gatekeeper could control the entire cave abode and send him out. Whoosh! In the world gap, the Tao realm expert suddenly appeared in the spatial storm. Then, he frantically searched for the cave abode's entrance, but no matter how hard he searched, he couldn't find it. How can this be? For the sake of this cave abode's treasures, he had paid a huge price. He even didn't hesitate to violate Hydra's rules and tamper with the darknet transactions. This was a huge risk. But now, someone else had beaten him to it. Could it be that they are in cahoots? After the Tao realm expert calmed down, he slowly analyzed. However, he quickly rejected it. He had already killed the owner of the map. Then, who knew this secret? Suddenly, he recalled that an ant in the roaming dragon world had spied on him. Could it be him? Impossible. A mere martial highness and couldn't even withstand a single glance from him. How was it possible for him to enter the cave before him? Let's take a look. He had no choice. The Tao realm expert was unwilling to give up. He went outside the roaming dragon world again and realized that it was still the same as before. However, there was a heavenly Tao protective barrier around it. He shook his head. The person who spied on him should be dead, right? As for the dilapidated roaming dragon world, he didn't take action. Any realm in the 3,000 great Tao realms had its own reason for existing. If one was strong enough, they could destroy a realm and make it dilapidated, but it was impossible to make it disappear from the world gap. Even if they could do it, they would have to pay a heavy price. Many powerhouses in the 3,000 great Tao realms were unwilling to do such a thing. For the latest updates and error-free reading, please visit recommendation. Recommender, font size 15px, color #396dd4, padding 010px. Chapter 4136. With the Thunderfire Beast King leading the team and the 5 high-level Beast Kings as support, they were working with the Golden Dragon Palace Lord to rebuild the Wandering Dragon Realm. Although the process was a little slow, they still managed to preserve the core strength of the Wandering Dragon Realm. As for those weaker cultivators, they perished under a single gaze from that Tao realm expert, and Fang Chen was helpless against them. The 3,000 realms of the Great Path was a world where the strong preyed on the weak. The gap between the Supreme Realm and the Tao realm was too great. Even if Fang Chen wanted to protect them, he was powerless to reverse the situation. Even he was lucky enough to escape. Now, the Wandering Dragon Realm was in ruins, but before Fang Chen left, he had fully activated the array formation. The remaining heavenly Tao power enveloped the Wandering Dragon Realm, preventing anyone from entering or leaving. With the Thunderfire Beast King presiding over it, the Wandering Dragon Realm wouldn't be in any danger unless it was a Tao realm expert. However, Tao realm experts were high and mighty. Under normal circumstances, they wouldn't forcefully destroy a small realm. The Tao realm expert glanced at the dilapidated Wandering Dragon Realm. Although he was furious, he still turned and left. After being kicked out of the cave abode, he couldn't even pinpoint its location. This meant that his treasure hunting trip was completely over. "Mph, I will definitely find the truth. How dare you take my things? You will die miserably." The Tao realm expert sneered. Then, he entered the darknet and began to gather information. World Gap, Void Cave Abode. He originally thought that he would have to fight to the death before he could pass. Who knew that he would be directly let in by the gatekeeper after using his heart force? According to the gatekeeper, the owner of this cave abode had once said that cultivators of the mind lineage could directly pass through this passage. After walking for about 4 to 5 days in the long passage, he finally reached the end. After coming out of the passage, Fang Chen was shocked to discover that his cultivation level had increased greatly. His realm was infinitely close to the peak Supreme Realm. He was a little stunned. Could this passage also be a cultivation holy land? Walking in the passage was also considered cultivation? Impressive. After a long while, Fang Chen couldn't help but curl his lips. If such a cultivation holy land could be placed in the Chaos Realm, it would definitely allow the Chaos Realm to produce many experts. Unfortunately, it was very difficult for him to do so with his current strength. Whoosh. He took a deep breath, adjusted his body condition, and stepped out of the passage. What entered his eyes were countless dazzling lights. He used his hand to shield his eyes from the dazzling lights and gradually calmed down. To his surprise, he found that he had arrived at a peach blossom forest. He couldn't see the end of it. All he could see were densely packed peach trees. Each peach tree seemed to be a world of its own and didn't interfere with each other. But upon closer inspection, these peach trees seemed to be connected to each other, forming a world of their own. What test is this? If the first test was to defeat the gatekeeper, then what would the second test be? Wang. Just as he was thinking, an identical gatekeeper suddenly appeared in the peach blossom forest. Fang Chen was a little stunned. Could it be that all the gatekeepers in the cave were the same person? We meet again. The gatekeeper smiled at Fang Chen. There was another Tao realm warrior who entered the passage with you to participate in the test. But because you passed the test in advance, he was kicked out of the cave. Hearing that, Fang Chen was stunned. He followed the Tao realm warrior in and didn't expect that in the end, The Tao Realm warrior was kicked out and he was left behind. You went for wool and came home shorn. This cave treasure didn't belong to him in the first place. He violated the rules of the Darknet and secretly left a mark on the map. If the Hydra organization knew about this, he would definitely be punished. Now that he had been kicked out, he could focus on clearing the trial with peace of mind. However, Fang Chen was still a little worried. He was afraid that the Tao Realm warrior would destroy the wandering dragon world and the ethereal world in anger. Forget it, it's useless to think about this. Only when I'm strong enough can I protect the people and things I want to protect, Fang Chen whispered. Then, he looked up at the gatekeeper. The latter seemed to understand the doubts in his heart and explained, I was personally created by my master. I'm very special. All the gatekeepers you met in the cave were illusions of me. Moreover, I will determine my own strength based on the true strength of the challenger. In other words, when facing Fang Chen, the gatekeeper's realm was only at the advanced supreme realm. However, even so, Fang Chen couldn't defeat him. Lord Gatekeeper, may I ask what the test of this level is? Since he was already here, he might as well take it easy and see if he could pass. Even a salted fish had to have dreams. What if he succeeded? Moreover, he passed the test directly because of his identity as a soul cultivator. He wondered if this identity would work in this level. You're a soul cultivator. Logically speaking, you should be able to enter the last level directly. However, you're too weak and haven't reached the Tao realm. Therefore, you must rely on your own strength to pass the peach blossom forest. The gatekeeper introduced that the peach blossom forest was a formation made up of 36,500 peach blossom trees. Each peach blossom tree was unique, and there was a special connection between these peach blossom trees. In the end, they formed this incomparably wondrous formation. To break the formation, one must comprehend all the mysteries of the 36,500 peach trees. There was a profound mystery hidden in every single one of the peach trees. In other words, comprehending all 36,500 mysteries would allow one to pass the test. In this level, cultivation level doesn't matter. It's a test of comprehension, the gatekeeper said. Has anyone succeeded before? Fang Chen was speechless. 36,500 mysteries. He didn't know how long it would take to comprehend them. Moreover, some mysteries might not even be comprehended. Millions of years ago, there was a genius who comprehended 9,999 mysteries in one go. However, he came to a halt and failed. The gatekeeper sank into his memories, as though he was very fond of that genius. However, the mystic mysteries he figured out were of great help to him. Although he didn't succeed, he managed to step into the heavenly Tao realm in just 10 million years after he left. He was famous in the 3,000 realms of the great Tao, an existence that left people trembling. Oh! Fang Chen was alarmed. To comprehend 9,999 mysteries in one go? Wasn't that too monstrous? However, he changed his mindset. Even if he failed, as long as he comprehended more mysteries, it would be of great help to his cultivation. Perhaps he could become the next heavenly Tao realm expert. Even if he failed, it wouldn't be a huge loss to him. Furthermore, he could temper his heart force in the process. If he could raise his heart force to the 3rd level, his strength would definitely soar. When that happened, he might be able to fully use the special heart force in heaven-splitting acts. With this in mind, he came to the nearest peach tree and sat down cross-legged to begin his meditation. The gatekeeper nodded in satisfaction. He was neither arrogant nor rash. He had a stable mindset. It was indeed commendable. I hope you have good results. Chapter 41-37. The peach blossom forest before him did not seem big, but there were actually 36,500 peach blossoms. Each peach blossom contained a kind of complicated mystery. Only by completely comprehending this mystery could one borrow the power of the peach blossoms. Therefore, to break the peach blossom forest's array, one had to comprehend 36,500 mysteries. However, this was something that even a Tao realm expert might not be able to do. How could a mere supremacy do it? The gatekeeper didn't have any hope for Fang Chen. He just wanted him to give it a try. After all, He was a cultivator of the spirit lineage. Before his master died, he had said that spirit lineage cultivators had to be given a certain amount of help. He had also emphasized that spirit lineage cultivators could pass through the other stages, but they had to participate in the Peach Blossom Forest's trial. Although the gatekeeper didn't understand, he roughly knew that this Peach Blossom Forest was important to spirit lineage cultivators. "Little guy, your potential is not bad. I hope you can succeed." The gatekeeper secretly observed Fang Chen. Time passed bit by bit. Fang Chen sat cross-legged in front of the first peach tree. He released his spiritual sense and carefully touched the peach blossoms. He wanted to sense the mysteries, but he failed. The peach blossoms seemed to be xenophobic. As long as there was any external contact, they would shake violently. This caused Fang Chen to waste a lot of time to study the peach blossom's characteristics before finally succeeding. 300 years later, the peach blossoms had developed a favorable impression of Fang Chen. They would even guide his spiritual sense into the peach blossoms and touch the mysteries. At this time, Fang Chen realized that this was the Fire Dao's mystery. He had a high attainment in the Fire Dao in the past, so he boldly tried to analyze it. He wanted to understand the mysteries of this mystery, but what happened next left him dumbfounded. The Fire Dao's mystery was much more profound than he had imagined. He realized that his attainment and understanding of the Fire Dao in the past couldn't compare to the Fire Dao's mystery. It was like his attainment in the Fire Dao in the past was like a child playing with mud. But now, the Fire Dao's mystery was like an adult's. The difference was too great. Is this the true Fire Dao? Fang Chen was completely stunned. He had never imagined that the Fire Dao would be so profound. No wonder the foundation of the world is earth, wind, water, and fire. At this moment, he finally understood something about the structure of the world. It was recorded in the ancient texts that the primordial world before it was shattered was composed of the four most ancient and most primitive laws. On the other hand, the flames that he had comprehended previously paled in comparison to the law of fire. Boom! Boom! Fang Chen attempted to touch the profound mysteries of fire. A rumbling sound rang out in his mind. He sank deeply into a world of fire, unable to extricate himself. Gradually, his body was enveloped by a layer of flames. For the past 300 years, the gatekeeper had been observing Fang Chen every day as usual. Today, he suddenly saw this scene and was somewhat shocked. Isn't this too abnormal? In a mere 300 years, this fellow had already come into contact with the true profound mysteries of fire. His body was covered in a layer of flame, which meant that he had already come into contact with the profound mystery of fire in the peach blossoms. Another 1,000 years passed. The flame on his body became increasingly thick. The gatekeeper was already used to this. In his heart, Fang Chen had already become a freak of nature. The thick flame meant that the profound mysteries of fire's rejection of him was becoming weaker and weaker. This state continued for 8,000 years. Finally, the flame on his body gradually converged, turning into a ball of flame that drilled into his body. This meant that the profound mysteries of fire no longer rejected him. In fact, it was even open to him. What a fellow, it's only been 8,000 years. The gatekeeper sighed in amazement. To a peak powerhouse, 8,000 years was nothing more than the snap of a finger. Some almighty figures could casually go into seclusion for hundreds of millions of years. According to his understanding, to be able to reduce the rejection of the profound mysteries of fire to its weakest point in 800 years was already a record-breaking feat even in the pre-shattering primordial world. This person would be considered a super-monstrous genius. No wonder. Master said that cultivators of the mind and spirit lineage have limitless potential. The gatekeeper sighed. He was even more curious about Fang Chen. He wanted to see just how far he would be able to go. How long would it take to comprehend the first profound mystery of fire? In my memory, the fastest time to comprehend a single profound mystery was 1 billion years. Although it was 1 billion years, in truth, this was the fastest time to comprehend a single profound mystery. The 4 laws of earth, wind, water, fire. Each law derived countless profound mysteries. In total, there were 36,500 profound mysteries. But the profound mysteries derived from the laws of fire numbered 9,000 profound mysteries. To be able to comprehend a single profound mystery of fire was already considered a peak monstrous genius within the sovereign realm. To comprehend all 9,000 profound mysteries was nearly impossible. Why were the almighty figures of the 3,000 great Tao secluded in seclusion? They were completely engrossed in comprehending the profound mysteries. As long as anyone could comprehend all the profound mysteries of a single law, they could be called a perfect perfection expert. Even in the 3,000 great Tao realms, such an expert could be counted on one hand. As for some almighty figures, if they wanted to improve further, they would continue to comprehend the profound mysteries of the other three laws. In history, there were people who had comprehended 2 laws and comprehended all the profound mysteries. There were even people who had comprehended 3 laws. But no one had ever comprehended 4 laws. The design of the peach blossom forest made it impossible for all challengers to pass. Back then, the owner of this cave abode had borrowed many powers and poured all the profound mysteries into the 36,500 peach blossoms. He wanted to temper those who came after him, hoping that they would be able to gain some cultivation experience from it. Fang Chen was completely unaware of this. He was completely focused on comprehending the profound mysteries of fire. After 300 million years, he had a complete understanding of most of the profound mysteries of fire. All that was left was a deeper level of research. This breakthrough made the gatekeeper's jaws drop. Every time Fang Chen made a breakthrough, he would break a historical record. He really wanted to see just how far this fellow would grow in the end. At this moment, far away, the 9th brother, King Xiaoyao, who was hunting at the end of the abyss, looked at his junior brother through the void projection with a smile. Junior brother's luck is pretty good. He actually obtained such a great opportunity. According to my calculations, he should be able to fully comprehend the profound mysteries of fire in 400 million years. The 9th brother said softly, his eyes filled with anticipation. He was very clear about the 4 laws of earth, wind, water, and fire. He also had some understanding of the 36,500 profound mysteries. He was filled with admiration for the owner of the cave abode. He was also very happy that his junior brother had obtained such a great opportunity. For the fastest update, please visit For Mobile, please visit Recommendation. Chapter 4138. Just as the 9th brother, King Xiaoyao, had predicted, after spending 400 million years, Fang Chen had successfully comprehended the first profound mystery of fire. Boom! His entire body was enveloped by flames. He was like a walking flame, and his body was ignited by the flames. Fang Chen felt like he was brimming with power. A casual punch could cause the flames to undergo a qualitative change. Profound mystery of fire. Fang Chen murmured. After comprehending the profound mystery of fire, his understanding of the Tao of fire had grown even stronger. Moreover, he could sense the aura of fire in the air at any time. In other words, his affinity with fire had increased. However, he wasn't arrogant. He had spent 400 million years to comprehend the first profound mystery of fire. It had to be known that there were over 9,000 profound mysteries of fire. To comprehend all of them was as difficult as ascending to the heavens. But within the peach blossom forest, there were 36,500 profound mysteries. Just thinking about it gave him a headache. Sometimes, he wondered if there was anyone in the 3,000 great Taos who could comprehend all 36,500 profound mysteries. Clearly, that was impossible. Congratulations. In just 400 million years, you've comprehended the first profound mystery. The gatekeeper suddenly appeared, smiling at him. Fang Chen curled his lips. Wasn't the word just a little too harsh? He felt that 400 million years was too long. You don't know. The first time you come in contact with a profound mystery, and also comprehend a profound mystery, is often the most difficult. For you to comprehend the first profound mystery of fire in 400 million years, this speed is already very fast. In the entire 3,000 great Taos, you can be ranked in the top 30. The gatekeeper seemed to have seen through Fang Chen's thoughts. Top 30. Fang Chen was stunned. He hadn't expected that after 400 million years, he would be ranked in the top 30. The first profound mystery is equivalent to a mountain. After climbing over it, it'll be much easier. However, the profound mysteries themselves are the basic structure of the world. There are too many things involved. In this aspect, you must not bite off more than you can chew. The gatekeeper explained many things about the profound mysteries to Fang Chen, and even gave him some examples. This was to prevent Fang Chen from biting off more than he could chew, and to lay a solid foundation. Thank you for your guidance. Fang Chen cupped his fists and thanked him, solidifying his foundation. He had stumbled all the way from the ancient sword continent. No one knew better than him how important it was to solidify one's foundation. The reason he was able to make it this far was because of his tenacious will. Now that he had comprehended the first arcana of fire, he did not feel complacent. Instead, he used the identity token of the disciple of the White Emperor Palace to enter the darknet. Wang. After 400 million years, the people of the White Emperor Palace once again received news that the murderer of the White Emperor Palace's disciples had appeared. Very quickly, the people from the White Emperor Palace rushed over and surrounded Fang Chen. This time, they came aggressively, wanting to force Fang Chen to reveal his identity in the real world. Because too much time had passed, the White Emperor Palace had lost their patience. Fang Chen coldly snorted. He ignored the people from the White Emperor Palace and walked straight to the downtown area. The rules of the darknet were very strict. Once someone broke the rules, they would be killed. Their consciousness would be shattered, and their physical body in the real world would also be damaged. If it was light, they would be seriously injured, and if it was heavy, they would die. Therefore, even though the people from the White Emperor Palace hated Fang Chen, they could do nothing. Kid, if you have the ability, then come to the arena. Suddenly, the people from the White Emperor Palace said coldly. Fang Chen stopped in his tracks and turned to look at them. Why should I? Whoosh. The people from the White Emperor Palace took out a scroll and said, "This is a precious arcana truth that I exchanged my points for not long ago. If you can defeat me in the arena, I will give it to you." Fang Chen had originally planned to ignore the people from the White Emperor Palace, but when he heard about the arcana truth, he was tempted. He had come to the darknet this time to inquire about the arcana. He did not expect that someone would send him a pillow when he was about to doze off. He was determined to get this arcana truth. Why should I believe you? In truth, Fang Chen was already impatient to fight in the arena. However, he did not show it on his face. Furthermore, he did not trust the people from the White Emperor Palace. After all, this arcana truth was extremely precious. It required a huge amount of points to exchange for. What if he won and the people from the White Emperor Palace refused to accept it? As expected, the people from the White Emperor Palace were anxious. We can find a witness. The people from the White Emperor Palace said, arena challenges are often witnessed by the staff of the darknet. Both sides have to hand over the wager to the staff in front of everyone. That way, the loser will have no chance to back out. All right, I agree. But I don't have anything on me that can match the arcana truth. Fang Chen shrugged. He did have some good things on him, such as the heaven-splitting axe. But he couldn't take them out as a wager, right? The people from the White Emperor Palace hurriedly waved their hands. We don't need anything from you. As long as you lose, leave your life behind. Fang Chen pretended to hesitate for a moment before nodding in agreement. Soon, the people from the White Emperor Palace found a witness. It was a staff member called Master Bitter Zen. He had a high prestige in the darknet. There had been no problems in the arena matches that he had witnessed so far. Master Bitter Zen, the two of us would like to have an arena match. Please be our witness. The people from the White Emperor Palace took out the arcana truth and handed it to Master Bitter Zen. Then, they explained everything clearly. Master Bitter Zen put his palms together and asked, "Are you willing?" Fang Chen nodded in agreement. Soon, under the witness of Master Bitter Zen, the two stepped into the arena. Before the two of you fight, let me explain the rules. Master Bitter Zen explained the rules to both parties as usual. After both parties agreed, he announced the start of the battle. Soon, many people were attracted to the arena. Oh, Isn't that the people from the White Emperor Palace? Who is he fighting? Even Master Bitter Zen is here. I'm really curious who will win this battle. Many people came because of Master Bitter Zen's reputation. They didn't know Fang Chen at all, nor did they bother to know him. Faced with the contempt of the people from the White Emperor Palace, Fang Chen sneered inwardly. You'll cry when you lose. If it weren't for the Arcana truth, he wouldn't have bothered to fight or even pay attention to the people from the White Emperor Palace. But now, his real body was in the peach blossom forest. He was in urgent need of the Arcana truth to improve his knowledge of the Arcana. Boom, boom, boom. Because the dark net was a virtual space, only divine consciousness could enter. Therefore, the arena match was also a battle of divine consciousness. It wasn't as noisy as a battle between real bodies. Basically, it was a battle of divine consciousness. As long as one could crack the opponent's divine consciousness, one would win. Basically, no matter how the battle was fought, it wouldn't hurt the divine consciousness, let alone the real body. Unless a top expert made a move, it was possible to destroy the divine consciousness and penetrate the real body through the shattered divine consciousness. Chapter 4139. With Master Bitter Zen as a witness, Fang Chen was naturally assured that his opponent would not dare to play any tricks. Otherwise, he would be punished by Master Bitter Zen. Master Bitter Zen had a high reputation and would not allow his name to be tarnished. As Master Bitter Zen announced the start of the battle, the arena was immediately filled with the aura of battle. The person from White Emperor Palace emitted a white aura all over his body. His primordial spirit transformed into a phantom. His hands formed a seal, and a terrifying white dragon floated above his head. Kill. The person from White Emperor Palace roared angrily. His figure flashed, and he attacked Fang Chen. At this moment, Fang Chen did not care at all. He even wanted to try and see how powerful the newly comprehended profound mystery of fire was. Boom, boom, boom. Just as the white dragon was about to touch Fang Chen's body, the latter directly used the profound mystery of fire. His entire body was bathed in flames. After the white dragon touched the flames, it instantly let out a miserable cry. Then, it was burned by the flames and quickly disappeared. Seeing this, the person from White Emperor Palace's expression changed greatly. This is the profound mystery of fire. Master Bitter Zen was also shocked. Clearly, he did not expect Fang Chen to have comprehended the profound mystery of fire. He stroked his beard, and a deep smile appeared on his face. It seems that this little guy is hiding a lot of secrets. When the two exchanged blows, Master Bitter Zen could already see the result. Sure enough, as he expected, after a few minutes, Fang Chen defeated the person from White Emperor Palace with an absolute advantage. The person from White Emperor Palace had no choice but to leave. The profound mystery of fire fell into Fang Chen's pocket. Little guy, congratulations. Master Bitter Zen put his palms together and congratulated with a smile. Thank you, Master Bitter Zen, for witnessing. Fang Chen also expressed his gratitude to Master Bitter Zen. However, at this moment, a powerful aura descended on the arena. He looked at Fang Chen and said coldly, "Can you give me your profound mystery of fire?" This scene caused all the onlookers to be somewhat stunned. At the same time, they also clearly saw the person who had come. Everyone shook their heads. This person was a famous bad guy who specialized in bullying newcomers and snatching other people's things. Of course, he took advantage of the loopholes in the rules. After all, no matter how strong a person was, they would not dare to violate the rules of the darknet. Sorry, I have a use for it. Fang Chen declined politely. However, the other party directly said, "Then do you dare to have a match with me?" Master Bitter Zen put his palms together and said, "Ku Yun, you're being a bit of a bully." Fang Chen frowned. He felt that this Ku Yun seemed very familiar. Suddenly, he slapped his head and remembered. Previously, when he obtained the cave mansion map from several members of the Hydra organization, they seemed to have mentioned that the big shot they found in the darknet, the expert who helped them decipher the map, was called Ku Yun. Fang Chen looked at Ku Yun seriously. He had seen the Dao realm expert before. At this moment, when he looked at his primordial spirit, He vaguely felt that the two were almost identical. He instantly concluded that this expert called Ku Yun should be the Tao realm expert who had almost destroyed the wandering dragon realm. I have a brother who wants the profound truth, but I exchanged my points for something else, and it just so happens that I don't have enough points, Ku Yun explained. It was difficult to accumulate so many points in a short time, and he was eager to get the profound truth. He just happened to see Fang Chen win one, so he wanted to come over. With Master Bitter Zen here, Ku Yun did not dare to be too presumptuous. He asked Fang Chen in a negotiating tone, "Brother, can you give me some face?" Fang Chen shook his head. His attitude was very firm. A trace of killing intent flashed in his heart. This guy relied on the fact that he was a Tao realm expert and wanted to kill him in an instant and destroy the wandering dragon realm with just a glance. He probably would not have dreamed that he would snatch the cave mansion opportunity that he was about to get. Good, very good. I hope you'll be careful in the future. After saying those words, Ku Yun turned and left. Fang Chen, who had obtained the profound truth, directly logged out of the darknet. In the peach blossom forest, Fang Chen had just tried to comprehend the profound truth of fire in the darknet. It was very powerful. Almost instantly, the white dragon formed by the people of the White Emperor Palace disintegrated from the inside. What a powerful, profound truth. Fang Chen was very curious. If he comprehended all 9,000 profound truths of fire, how strong would he be? Of course, he was not arrogant enough to think that he could comprehend all of them. He was just trying his best to comprehend them. Then, he flipped open the profound truths. The explanations inside were all basic profound truths knowledge. Even so, it was still very important to Fang Chen. After half a month, he finally finished reading the profound truth. At this time, Fang Chen's understanding of the profound truth had deepened. He told the gatekeeper and began to try to comprehend the second profound truth of fire. Buzz. He came to the second peach blossom tree and used his consciousness to communicate with the peach blossom tree. He came into contact with the profound truth of fire inside and began to comprehend it. In a dangerous place in the world gap, there was a terrifying cave abode. No creatures approached it at all. At that moment, an old man in the cave abode was so angry that he almost destroyed the cave abode. Damn it. A mere supremacy trash dares to challenge me, Ku Yun? Surprisingly, this person was Ku Yun, who'd been forcefully kicked out of the abode earlier. As a Tao realm expert, he could be considered to be an existence that possessed the strength to fight in the 3,000 dimensions of the Grand Tao. However, he'd been refused when he'd asked for a true enlightenment of the profound mysteries. This was not giving him any face. Previously, he was already angry because he had been forcefully kicked out of the cave abode. Now, he was even angrier. He began to contact some of his friends, wanting to find out the identity of the person who had rejected him on the darknet and where he came from. "Mph, just you wait. I, Ku Yun, will make you regret it for the rest of your life." At the same time, White Emperor Palace, White Emperor Realm. The strongest person in the White Emperor Palace, the realm lord of the White Cloud Realm, Emperor Bai, was furious after learning about everything on the darknet. "Use all your power. No matter the price, we must find out his true identity." Emperor Bai gave the order and went to find his friends, hoping to find some clues on the darknet. Although Hydra is an organization, it is too scattered. Although the darknet also has strict rules, people die for money and birds die for food. As long as there is enough profit, anyone will take the risk. Therefore, Emperor Bai believed that if he paid a high enough price, he would definitely be able to find out Fang Chen's true identity. From there, he would be able to lock onto his hiding place and kill him. At that moment, Fang Chen had no idea that because of his actions, he had attracted so many enemies. They were even willing to violate the darknet's rules to find his hiding place. If the Tao realm expert, Ku Yun, knew that the person he wanted to kill was the person who had kicked him out of the cave abode, what kind of expression would he have? As for Emperor Bai, if he knew where Fang Chen was hiding, he would probably not dare to come even if he had 10,000 guts. Chapter 4140. Because he had the experience of comprehending the first profound mystery of fire, Fang Chen had a deeper understanding of the profound mysteries after reading the Profound Mysteries' True Explanation. As a result, the time it took him to comprehend the second profound mystery of fire was greatly reduced. He only spent 100 million years to complete it. To a cultivator, this was just a snap of the finger. After comprehending the second profound mystery of fire, Fang Chen had an unexpected and pleasant harvest. This profound mystery of fire was called flame clone. Previously, he had seen from the Profound Mysteries' True Explanation that every profound mystery was unique. Among them, there was no lack of extremely special profound mysteries. For example, within the Profound Mysteries of Fire, there was a profound mystery that allowed one to condense a flame clone. And it just so happened that the second profound mystery that Fang Chen had comprehended was precisely the profound mystery of flame clone. Condense. As soon as he comprehended it, he was already impatient to condense a flame clone. From the Profound Mysteries' True Explanation, he could see that there were a total of 3 steps to condensing a flame clone. The first step was to familiarize himself with the profound mysteries of flame clone, allowing it to circulate throughout his body and completely fuse with his flesh. The second step was to separate the blood essence, allowing the profound mysteries to separate from the blood essence and condense a flame giant. At this step, he was more than half successful. However, he still couldn't be careless. Only by completing the third step would he be considered to have truly condensed a flame clone. The third step was also an extremely important step. The requirement for this step was to separate the primordial spirit. Separate the primordial spirit? Fang Chen's eyes swiveled. The primordial spirit was the foundation of a cultivator. Once it was separated, there was a risk of it being destroyed. He fell into a state of hesitation. At this time, the gatekeeper appeared. He told Fang Chen that to condense a flame clone, he had to separate the primordial spirit. Moreover, for powerful people, separating the primordial spirit was a normal operation. Because it was only a small part of the primordial spirit, as long as it was done well, it wouldn't affect the main primordial spirit. The reason for this was to give the flame clone a will, allowing it to have a clearer connection with the main primordial spirit. This flame clone was a true clone. No matter how far away it was, it would still be able to communicate with it. Otherwise, it would be an incomplete flame clone. You are a spirit cultivator. Extracting the primordial spirit is even easier for you. The gatekeeper revealed a secret. It turned out that cultivators of the mind lineage had a rather unique and easier means of stripping off one's essence soul. Moreover, the gatekeeper personally taught Fang Chen how to properly peel off the primordial spirit. This lesson lasted for 3 months. 3 months later, Fang Chen was finally ready and began to condense the fire avatar. The first step was basically completed in an instant. With a thought, the profound energy spread throughout his body and fused with his flesh. Then, the second step began. He separated a drop of essence blood, and then controlled the profound mysteries of flame to fuse the two together. Rumble. A deafening sound resounded through the sky. A flame giant could be seen with the naked eye gradually appearing in front of Fang Chen. After a while, the flame giant was completely formed. Its shape and appearance were exactly the same as Fang Chen's, except that it looked somewhat wooden. The gatekeeper said that this was because he had not yet been bestowed with a primordial spirit and was unable to control his body. Thus, he was now considered a walking corpse. The third step was also the most important step. The gatekeeper told Fang Chen to relax a little and to just use his heart force. As expected, Fang Chen did not hesitate and directly used the second layer of heart force. In an instant, it enveloped the primordial spirit and began stripping. The entire stripping process was very simple and very fast. It was so simple that Fang Chen thought that he had made a mistake in his control. When the sliver of primordial spirit that was stripped off entered the flame giant instantly shrank until it was as tall as Fang Chen. Greetings. The flame giant cupped his fists towards Fang Chen with a smile on his face. Avatar? Fang Chen was stunned. How could it be so easy to condense a flame avatar? No need to be surprised. You are a cultivator of the mind lineage. Condensing a flame avatar is too easy for you. The gatekeeper said. This was just one way to use the profound mysteries of flame. In the 3,000 realms of the Great Tao, there were many people who had comprehended the profound mysteries of flame avatars. Of course, it was not just the profound mysteries of flame avatars that could be condensed into avatars. There were other special profound mysteries that could be used to condense avatars. There were even some powerful secret techniques that could be used to condense avatars. However, the only difference was, once the avatar was destroyed, the primordial spirit that was stripped off would be permanently destroyed. This would affect the growth of the main primordial spirit. If the opponent was a top powerhouse, they could even severely injure the main primordial spirit by stripping off the primordial spirit. To put it simply, profound mystery avatars were closely related to the main body. And those avatars that were condensed through special means were basically like walking corpses in terms of combat strength. Even if they were damaged, they could be condensed again. Just as Fang Chen was studying the flame avatar, the gatekeeper's words made his eyes light up. You can let the main body comprehend the profound mysteries in the peach blossom forest while the flame avatar leaves to explore the 3,000 realms of the Great Tao, the gatekeeper said. The advantage of this was that the main body would be very safe. Even if the flame avatar died and the main primordial spirit was affected, it would not threaten the life of the main body. Hey, that's right. Why didn't I think of that? Fang Chen laughed happily like a fool. In the following time, with the gatekeeper's help, he let the flame avatar leave the cave abode while his main body continued to cultivate in the peach blossom forest. Boom, boom, boom. The flame avatar suddenly appeared in the world gap. There were countless terrifying storms around it. The flame avatar took a look and then directly rushed towards the wandering dragon realm. Soon, he saw the ethereal spirit realm from afar. The ethereal spirit realm was developing very well, and there were no invaders. However, the wandering dragon realm was different. After the destructive attack of the Tao realm expert, it was almost destroyed. Fortunately, 70% of the heavenly Tao's power was damaged, allowing it to barely withstand the attack. The current wandering dragon realm could not be called a realm at all. Strictly speaking, it was like a mystic realm. It was extremely damaged, especially the heavenly Tao's power. It had been severely damaged and had fallen into a deep sleep. In such a situation, the flame avatar was helpless. Hey! Just as the flame avatar was about to enter the wandering dragon realm, a Hydra battleship suddenly came from afar. Hey! The Hydra battleship stopped in front of the flame avatar. Several people walked out of it. Among them, the fat man in the lead asked, "Boy, do you know what this realm is called?" Before the flame avatar could speak, another person said, "No matter what, we are the geniuses of the Nine Heavens realm. I really don't know what the boss is thinking. He actually sent us to such a godforsaken place to train." After hearing this person's ridicule, the flame avatar was stunned. The Nine Heavens realm. Wasn't that the place the black-robed ancestor wanted him to go before he died? Chapter 41-41. Boy, we're asking you a question. Are you deaf? Seeing Fang Chen in a daze, the burly man held an axe in front of him and said fiercely, "Ah." Only then did Fang Chen react. He carefully looked at the people who came down from the Hydra organization's battleship. "This is the Wandering Dragon Realm," Fang Chen replied. "The Wandering Dragon Realm? It's about to be destroyed." The burly man curled his lips, a little disdainful. The leader was a man in a brocade robe. He squinted at the dilapidated Wandering Dragon Realm in front of him, and a trace of excitement flashed in his eyes. "Such a dilapidated realm is just right for us to practice." Listening to what they said, it seemed that they were specifically looking for a dilapidated realm to practice. "What are you doing?" Fang Chen asked. "Who are you? What right do you have to speak here?" The burly man picked up his axe and threatened Fang Chen. "Get lost, don't let me see you again." After a rough estimation, the strength of these people was basically at the advanced Supreme Master level. Only the man in the brocade robe was at the ultimate Supreme Master level. "What if I don't get lost?" Fang Chen shrugged. His flame doppelganger had two mysteries of fire. Although it was only at the advanced Supreme Master level, it was invincible below the ultimate Supreme Master level. After weighing the overall strength of the people in front of him, He felt that he could handle them. Heh! Being challenged by Fang Chen, the burly man was a little angry. He picked up his axe and chopped at Fang Chen. Crash! However, his movements were too clumsy, and Fang Chen easily dodged. Big guy, is that all you can do? Fang Chen mocked. You're courting death. The burly man was completely furious. He waved his axe and displayed a powerful unique skill. However, Fang Chen was stronger and firmly suppressed him. His axe could not touch Fang Chen at all. That's enough. The man in the brocade robe stopped the burly man. You are not his match. He could tell that Fang Chen had no intention of killing the burly man. He was just toying with him. Humph, if he didn't run, I would have chopped off his head with my axe, the burly man said. The finely dressed man took a step forward and looked at Fang Chen with a smile. I really didn't expect to meet such an interesting person like you in such a remote place. If I'm not wrong, you should be the sector lord of this wandering dragon domain, right? You're much smarter than that big guy. Fang Chen shrugged. The other party had already seen through him, so there was no need for him to lie. He directly admitted it. You. The burly man was infuriated by Fang Chen's mockery, but he was stopped by the others. The finely dressed man said, I have to say that your luck is really good. Your cultivation level is not as high as mine, but you became the sector lord. I envy you. Fang Chen did not speak. The finely dressed man continued, we are from the Nine Heavens realm. I think you have never heard of it. But what I want to tell you is that you should give up the wandering dragon domain and let us practice. I believe you are a smart person and know what to choose. You want to refine the wandering dragon domain? Fang Chen asked. Humph, this desolate place is worthy for us to refine. The burly man said disdainfully. We don't like the sector lord of this broken place at all. We want to refine it completely and let it disappear. We want to absorb its heavenly Tao to improve our strength. There were many powerful forces in the Nine Heavens realm, but this force had always been strong because they had a unique secret skill that could swallow the domain. Ha ha, Fang Chen smiled, a very bright smile. It seemed that there was nothing to say. Boom. He attacked first. Seeing this, the burly man raised his axe and attacked. But at this moment, Fang Chen also took out the sky-splitting axe and activated his heart force, raising the power of the sky-splitting axe to the maximum. The burly man looked at him with disdain. Showing off in front of an expert. However, when the two axes collided, the burly man's axe was instantly shattered. Moreover, Fang Chen's sky-splitting axe did not stop. It continued to carry a powerful force and chopped on the burly man's head. Crack! The burly man's primordial spirit was directly shattered and he died instantly. Heh! This scene made the other people's faces change drastically. Attack together. The finely dressed man saw that there was something wrong with Fang Chen's axe, so he did not act arrogantly and chose to attack him together. And the poor burly man was too conceited and died tragically in the end. Boom! Fang Chen unleashed all his strength, even using his heart force. He wanted to kill these people in the shortest time possible. In any case, this was the world gap. No one would know that he was the one who killed them. Crack! The sky-splitting axe, which was wrapped in heart force, was extremely powerful. Every strike of the axe could shatter a person's primordial spirit. After several consecutive strikes, all the people from the Nine Heavens realm, except for the finely dressed man, died. Boom! The finely dressed man collided with Fang Chen and quickly retreated. After stabilizing his body, he stared at him with his pitch-black eyes and asked, "Who are you?" The strength Fang Chen displayed was definitely not that of an ordinary high-level supremacy. It was even stronger than ordinary peak supremacies. He could almost be considered invincible among the supremacies. How could there be such a powerful monster in such a remote place? For a moment, the finely dressed man felt a little weak. He was mainly afraid of the sky-splitting axe in Fang Chen's hand. All his strength comes from that axe, the finely dressed man thought to himself. The brocade-robed man thought to himself, but he had no way to resist. Do I really have to use that weapon? There was a sealed demonic saber in his interspatial ring. When the expert from the sect gave it to him, He had warned him many times that he could only comprehend it once every 10,000 years. And each time, he could only comprehend it for a maximum of an hour. Otherwise, he would suffer a chi deviation. It had only been 8,000 years since he last comprehended it. He was hesitating whether he should take out the demonic saber. This was because in his current situation, only the demonic saber could resist Fang Chen's sky-splitting axe. However, the warning of the expert from the sect appeared in his mind. What should I do? He was weighing the pros and cons, unable to make a choice. Using the demonic saber before the stipulated time is very risky, but there are also great gains. Once I kill this person and seize his axe, I'll have profited greatly. In the end, impulse overcame reason, and the finely dressed man prepared to use the sealed demonic saber. He stared at Fang Chen and said coldly, "Boy, I admit that you are very strong, and the axe in your hand is a rare divine weapon. However, it's a pity that you have met me. I will take everything from you. Don't worry, after I kill you, I will personally refine the broken domain behind you and let you know why you died. Do you have any last words?" Chapter 41-42. The man in brocade robes threatened Fang Chen with the 9 heavens realm. If Fang Chen insisted on attacking him, he would become the enemy of the entire 9 heavens realm. However, Fang Chen didn't care. "You want to kill me? Do you want me to let you go?" He knew very well that if he killed them in the world gap, the experts of the 9 heavens realm wouldn't be able to track him down. If he let them go, not to mention the wandering dragon realm, even the ethereal realm would be destroyed. Even his life would be in danger. He couldn't take the risk. Moreover, he wanted to take the opportunity to go to the 9 heavens realm to take a look. Boom! Fang Chen activated the heaven-splitting axe once more. The terrifying axe contained a vast amount of heart force. Soon, the might of the heaven-splitting axe increased significantly. As it chopped down, the man in embroidered robes was unable to block it at all. He cried out miserably as his body smashed to the side. Whoosh! However, at this moment, a spatial storm suddenly appeared. The terrifying storm power swept across a radius of 100 miles. Fang Chen's figure quickly retreated, leaving the range of the spatial storm. However, the man in brocade robes wasn't so lucky. He had been hit by the sky-splitting axe and was seriously injured. Now that he encountered a spatial storm, he couldn't dodge at all. Rip! The pulling force of the spatial storm was too strong. The man in brocade robes panicked when he saw that he was about to be sucked into the center of the storm. Helpless, he didn't think about the consequences anymore. He took out the sealed demonic saber in his spatial ring. Boom! The moment the demonic saber appeared, he suddenly raised his hand. The demonic saber carried a monstrous demonic aura and slashed at the spatial storm. Crack! A crack appeared in the spatial storm, and the demonic saber was unharmed. This also helped the man in brocade robes quickly escape the range of the spatial storm. Hiss! Soon, the spatial storm disappeared, and the area returned to normal. However, the man in brocade robes was different. He didn't use the demonic saber at the stipulated time, causing the demonic aura to invade his body. Now, he was a walking corpse, and the demonic saber was controlling his body. Kill! The man in brocade roared. Holding the demonic saber, he fought fiercely with Fang Chen. Fang Chen also sensed that this demonic saber was very special. He didn't let his guard down and immediately activated his heart force, pushing the heaven-splitting axe to its limits to resist the demonic saber. Boom! Boom! The demonic saber was clearly at a disadvantage in the confrontation with the heaven-splitting axe. This scene caused the luxuriously dressed man's pupils to shrink. Although the demonic saber was controlling his body now, he still had a trace of consciousness. He knew very well how powerful the demonic saber was. The last time he used it, an expert above the Supreme Being realm was severely injured by his saber. But now, the demonic saber was actually at a disadvantage when clashing with the heaven-splitting axe. What was going on? In other words, what level of weapon was that axe? Bang bang bang! In a few seconds, the demonic saber and heaven-splitting axe had clashed dozens of times. The man in embroidered clothes was a little flustered. He had violated the rules by using the demonic saber. He felt that his last bit of consciousness was blurring, but he had yet to finish off the enemy. What should he do next? Swoosh! Fang Chen held the heaven-splitting axe and fiercely slashed at the demonic saber with his powerful heart force. The terrifying shock wave almost tore the man in embroidered clothes apart. It was this swing of the axe that caused the man in embroidered clothes to be completely controlled by the demonic saber. Immediately after, the sinister and terrifying voice of the demonic saber echoed in Fang Chen's ears. Hee. I didn't expect to encounter a primordial spiritual treasure after so many years. Although the demonic saber didn't recognize the heaven-splitting axe, it knew that this saber came from the primordial world before it was destroyed. It was called a primordial spiritual treasure. However, it wasn't worried. After all, the primordial spiritual treasure was sealed and couldn't unleash its true power. If it could refine the primordial spiritual treasure, its seal would be broken. Thinking of this, the demonic saber entered a state of madness. It frantically controlled the man in embroidered clothes' body to fight against Fang Chen. However, it still underestimated the power of the heaven-splitting axe and Fang Chen's special methods. After an intense battle, the heaven-splitting axe completely suppressed the demonic saber and killed the man in embroidered clothes. The latter's body was torn apart and devoured by a spatial storm. Only the demonic saber floated in the world gap. How could this be? A terrified voice sounded from the demonic saber. It wanted to escape, but it was suppressed by the heaven-splitting axe. Whoosh! Fang Chen pressed his palm down and completely controlled the demonic saber. He then sent a message to his ninth brother, King Xiaoyao, informing him that a sealed demonic saber had actually recognized the heaven-splitting axe as a primordial spiritual treasure. He didn't know what to do with it. Demonic saber? The ninth brother frowned. In the current 3,000 Great Dao realms, very few people could recognize primordial spiritual treasures. He immediately had Fang Chen send him a mental image and realized that he didn't recognize the demonic saber. This demonic saber isn't a primordial spiritual treasure. However, I'm guessing that it must have followed the experts of the primordial world in battle. That's why it knows about primordial spiritual treasures. The ninth brother, King Xiaoyao, discovered that there was a demon sealed inside the demonic saber. Once the demon broke out of the seal, it would be a great threat to his junior brother. How about this, junior brother? Give me this demonic saber. I'll refine the demon inside. After I'm done, I'll give it to you, said the ninth brother via voice transmission. All right. Last time, after obtaining the heaven-splitting axe and becoming an inner disciple of the Palace of Fortune, Fang Chen had the means to enter a hunting world at any time. This time, he didn't waste any time. He directly entered the end of the abyss through the hunting world and left the demonic saber for his ninth brother. After that, he returned to the world gap and jumped onto the battleship left behind by the man in embroidered clothes. In the battleship, there were many cultivation resources that they had plundered. There were also some things that Fang Chen didn't understand. In the end, he found a book that he was more interested in. It clearly recorded the geographical location of the Nine Heavens realm and the power structure. After reading it, Fang Chen had a general understanding of the Nine Heavens realm. It turned out that the man in embroidered clothes was a core disciple of the strongest power in the Nine Heavens realm, Yunxiao Palace. However, he didn't find the Almighty that the black-robed elder wanted him to find in the book. It seemed that he had to go to the Nine Heavens realm personally to see that Almighty. The Wandering Dragon world currently had the Thunder Fire Beast King and 5 high-level Beast Kings guarding it. Moreover, the Golden Dragon Palace Lord was rebuilding it. Basically, there were no major problems. As for the empty spirit world, it had entered a dormant period. All the cultivators were working hard to cultivate. Fang Chen's original body was still comprehending the mysteries in the peach blossom forest. As for this fire clone, he planned to continue exploring. After all, the 3,000 realms of the Great Path was so vast. He was just a beginner. What awaited him next was a more dangerous, more exciting, and more intense journey. Chapter 41-43. The primordial world shattered and evolved into the 3,000 realms of the Great Path. However, For countless years, everyone had been searching for the original realm because there was a saying in the Gap of Worlds: whoever obtained the original realm would obtain the world. From this, one could see how important the original realm was. All cultivators believed that the original realm was the core of the primordial world after it shattered. It preserved many things that belonged to the primordial world, including all kinds of inheritances, techniques, and treasures. However, they did not know that the original realm was not what they imagined it to be. Compared to the 3,000 realms of the Great Path, the current original realm was a dilapidated scene. Moreover, it was almost destroyed by the devouring demon clan. Fortunately, a super genius like Fang Chen appeared and turned the situation around. Even so, because the original realm was too isolated, it could not come into contact with the cultivation of the outside world. Therefore, as time passed, the martial arts civilization of the original realm fell further and further behind. It was even difficult for cultivators of the supreme realm to appear. However, Fang Chen believed that as long as he was strong enough, he could lead the cultivation civilization of his hometown. It had been a long time since he left the realm of chaos. Fang Chen had been cultivating hard. Now, he had become a disciple of the Palace of Fortune and the Lord of Two Realms. He had also condensed a fire clone and let it explore the 3,000 realms of the Great Path. His original body was comprehending the mysteries of the peach blossom forest. For him, this was definitely the best way to cultivate. Even if the fire clone was killed, his original body would still be alive. Unless he encountered a supreme cultivator who could destroy his original body through the clone, then there was nothing he could do. However, Fang Chen still had an important trump card, and that was the ninth brother, King Xiaoyao. At the critical moment, he would help him once. After dealing with the core disciples of the Yunxiao Palace of the Nine Heavens realm, Fang Chen sent the sealed demonic blade to the ninth brother. Then, he turned back and steered the warship into the depths of the Gap of Worlds. On the warship, he found countless cultivation resources. Of course, the most important thing was the map of the Nine Heavens realm and the division of forces. This also made him realize that the Nine Heavens realm was more powerful than the Empty Spirit realm and the Wandering Dragon realm combined. Moreover, what surprised her the most was that the Nine Heavens realm actually had a cultivator who was above the Supreme Saint level. Although it was still unclear what level the Dao realm expert from Cloud Palace was at least for now, it seemed that he was not someone Fang Chen could provoke. During the long journey, Fang Chen was not idle. He had been cultivating. However, one day, the battleship suddenly issued a warning. He immediately stopped cultivating and went to the deck. To his surprise, he discovered that there was a magnetic field of thunder in front of him. Above the endless sea, terrifying lightning constantly swooped down, turning the surrounding area into a magnetic field of lightning. Even an expert like Fang Chen would be instantly refined if he were to enter such a terrifying thunder domain magnetic field. He hurriedly controlled the battleship to avoid the Thunder Dominion's magnetic field. He wanted to circle around it, but at this moment, he saw a shocking scene. Within the Thunder Dominion's magnetic field, there seemed to be a figure bathing in terrifying thunder. Is that cultivating? Fang Chen was dumbfounded. There was actually someone cultivating under the terrifying magnetic field of the Thunder Dominion. Then, this expert must be a Dao realm expert. Rumble. A deafening sound resounded through the sky. Terrifying thunder pierced through the figure's body. However, there was no pain on his face. There was only joy. This process lasted for a full 15 minutes. Finally, the magnetic field of the Thunder Dominion disappeared completely. The figure also stopped cultivating. His body was covered with thunder and lightning. His eyes flashed and lightning burst out. A Dao realm expert. Fang Chen clenched his fist, his breathing a little rapid. This was the first time he saw a Dao realm expert cultivating. It was simply terrifying. Whoosh. Suddenly, the Dao realm expert seemed to have noticed Fang Chen in the distance. He turned his head and looked at him. Suddenly, Fang Chen felt that his head was about to explode. The pain spread through his body and he collapsed on the deck. Fortunately, the Dao realm expert quickly retracted his gaze. This allowed Fang Chen to heave a sigh of relief. However, What happened next made Fang Chen's heart jump to his throat. This was because the Dao Realm expert was walking towards his battleship from the direction of the magnetic field of the Thunder Dominion. I can't be that unlucky, right? He had just come out and his clone was going to be destroyed. However, at this point, he couldn't run away. He could only brace himself and greet the Dao Realm expert. I didn't mean to disturb your cultivation. Please forgive me. Fang Chen cupped his fists and apologized. Whoosh. The Dao Realm expert landed on the deck. After retracting his aura, he sat cross-legged on the deck like an ordinary person and closed his eyes to rest. Fang Chen didn't dare to act rashly. He kept guarding the Dao Realm expert. 3 days later, the Dao Realm expert slowly opened his eyes. The thunder and lightning on his body disappeared completely. He looked up at Fang Chen and nodded in satisfaction. I had an epiphany during my cultivation. Hence, I borrowed your deck. Thank you. Senior, you're welcome, Fang Chen said with a smile. The Dao Realm expert seemed to be very gentle and had a good attitude towards Fang Chen. It's fate that we met. I owe you a favor. Tell me, what do you want? Fang Chen shook his head. Since the Dao Realm expert was being polite to him, he shouldn't take him seriously. He immediately rejected, Senior, you're thinking too much. Even without my battleship, you can still cultivate in the world gap. This is just a small matter. How would I dare to ask for a favor from you? Little guy, you're neither arrogant nor rash. Not bad. The Dao Realm expert seemed to be very satisfied with Fang Chen's answer. He didn't say anything else and asked, Where are you going? Senior, I'm going to the Nine Heavens Realm. Oh. After hearing the words Nine Heavens Realm, the Dao Realm expert smiled and said, I didn't expect our destination to be the same. Great, let's go together. I couldn't ask for more. Fang Chen was secretly delighted. It was a huge gain to be able to travel with a Dao Realm expert. Indeed. Along the way, although the Dao Realm expert didn't chat much with Fang Chen, the few pointers he gave Fang Chen benefited greatly. In particular, after learning that Fang Chen was a cultivator of the mind lineage, the Dao Realm expert expressed his joy. I really didn't expect to encounter a cultivator of the mind lineage in this vast world gap, said the Dao Realm expert. Then, he opened his palm and released a wisp of heart force. Fang Chen was stunned. He didn't expect the Dao Realm expert to also be a cultivator of the mind lineage. Senior, are you also a cultivator of the mind lineage? Fang Chen was somewhat puzzled. Then why did he temper his body in the Lightning Dominion's magnetic field? That's right. I'm also a cultivator of the mind lineage. Previously, when I tempered my body in the Lightning Dominion's magnetic field, I was actually tempering my heart force. Your realm is too low now, so you don't understand. You will in the future. Chapter 41-44. The Nine Heavens Realm was very far from the Wandering Dragon Realm. Fang Chen and the Dao Realm cultivator in the Thunder region took 100 years to see the edge of the Nine Heavens Realm. That ball in front is the Nine Heavens Realm. The Dao Realm cultivator stood up and stood on the deck. He pointed at the ball in front of them. The Nine Heavens Realm was the sum of the Wandering Dragon Realm and the Empty Spirit Realm. It looked like a ball from a distance. When we enter the Nine Heavens Realm, we'll be separated. The Dao Realm cultivator reminded Fang Chen that the Nine Heavens Realm was full of strong cultivators. There were countless supreme cultivators like him. He shouldn't provoke those big forces, especially the Yunxiao Palace. Hearing this, Fang Chen smiled bitterly in his heart. He didn't want to provoke them, but they provoked him. He had no choice but to fight back. The death of the Yunxiao Palace disciple must have been reported to the headquarters of the Yunxiao Palace. However, they couldn't be sure who the murderer was. As long as he hid well, the Yunxiao Palace wouldn't find him. He had to destroy the battleship before entering the Nine Heavens Realm. Otherwise, he would be killed. After a few more days, the two finally arrived at the edge of the Nine Heavens Realm. The Dao Realm cultivator said goodbye to Fang Chen and jumped into the Nine Heavens Realm. Fang Chen destroyed the core control center of the battleship without hesitation and abandoned it in the world gap. In the end, he used the sky-opening axe to enter the Nine Heavens Realm. Boom! The moment he entered the Nine Heavens realm, there was a huge explosion in the world gap outside the Nine Heavens realm. The terrifying explosion even spread to the Nine Heavens realm. Many strong cultivators were alarmed. Swoosh, swoosh. Many strong cultivators came to the edge of the Nine Heavens realm one by one and looked at the explosion in the world gap. Is it the explosion of the space storm? It's hard to say. The explosion wasn't too strong, but the area was quite wide. Many strong cultivators were discussing. They were guessing whether it was done by a strong cultivator on purpose or a natural disaster. This concerned the survival of the Nine Heavens realm, so they had to be careful. Soon, the strong cultivators of the Yunxiao Palace arrived. At first, they thought it was a natural disaster, but when they sensed the familiar aura at the center of the explosion, their expressions changed. Then, they went to the center of the explosion and found some parts of the battleship. As expected, the Cloudy Palace elite's guess was correct. The destroyed battleship belonged to Cloudy Palace's core disciple, Yun Cheng. Yun Cheng's battleship was destroyed. What happened? The Yunxiao Palace experts immediately contacted the sect and asked them to check if Yun Cheng's life tablet had shattered. Sure enough, a few seconds later, news came from Cloud Palace that Yun Cheng's life slip had shattered. This way, it could be confirmed that Yun Cheng was dead. As for how he died, it was still unclear. The cultivators of Cloud Palace immediately gave the order to seal off the news. They began to send cultivators to the center of the explosion to search for broken parts. They wanted to find clues from within. Damn it, how did Yun Cheng die? An angry roar came from within Cloudy Palace. This person was the Yunxiao Palace Grand Elder and also Yun Cheng's grandfather. He valued his grandson the most as he had a chance to inherit his position and even become a Dao realm expert. However, he had perished in the world gap. Investigate. We must get to the bottom of this. Cloudy Palace's great elder bared his teeth. Compared to the commotion on Cloud Palace's side, the entire Nine Heavens realm was much calmer. The moment Fang Chen entered the Nine Heavens realm, a mighty expert silently descended and took him away. When he regained consciousness, he discovered that he had appeared in a mysterious valley. He looked around and didn't find anyone. At that moment, a voice sounded. Did Black Robe send you here? As soon as that was said, Fang Chen instantly determined that the mighty expert who had taken him away was the expert that Patriarch Black Robe had mentioned. Junior Fang Chen greets Senior. Fang Chen turned his head and saw the white-haired elder behind him. He cupped his fists and greeted him. Then, the white-haired elder sat cross-legged on a bluestone and explained the events of the past to Fang Chen in detail. It turned out that Black Robe and the white-haired elder were sworn brothers back then. They roamed the world gap together and obtained many opportunities. However, they also encountered great danger. During their last adventure, they encountered the greatest crisis in history. In the end, Black Robe was severely injured in order to save him. After that, the white-haired elder had been frantically searching for a famous doctor to save his brother, Black Robe. However, Black Robe's injuries were too severe. There was no medicine to treat him. Patriarch Black Robe knew the situation, so he chose to return to his hometown. Before he left, he promised the white-haired elder that he would send a successor to find him in the future. He didn't expect that this wait would last hundreds of millions of years. I've let Black Robe down. The white-haired elder smiled bitterly. Since you came here, you must have obtained Black Robe's legacy. Then, I will fulfill my promise and give you what Black Robe left with me. However, the white-haired elder paused for a moment and sized up Fang Chen. What Black Robe left behind is very important. With your current strength, it will be very difficult for you to control it. I plan to give it to you when you reach the peak of the Supremacy Realm. I will temporarily keep it for you. At the same time, the white-haired elder also said that he would personally guide Fang Chen and create a good opportunity for him to hone his skills. It just so happens that the Nine Heavens realm is holding a supreme battle. Anyone can participate. Why don't you give it a try? Said the white-haired elder. Supreme battle? Fang Chen was puzzled. The white-haired elder explained. The so-called supreme battle was a battle that anyone below the Dao realm could participate in. The final winner would have a chance to obtain the recognition of Yunxiao Palace and enter the cloud pool to cultivate. Moreover, the white-haired elder also told Fang Chen that the cloud pool was a place that all cultivators dreamed of. Supreme Realm warriors could easily break through if they entered to cultivate. In other words, the fastest way to reach the peak of the Supremacy Realm was to obtain first place in the Supreme Battle and enter the cloud pool to cultivate. Fang Chen was a little hesitant. What if he was discovered to have killed a disciple of Yunxiao Palace? Why? You don't dare? Asked the white-haired elder as he looked at Fang Chen. Senior, it's not that I don't dare, but, on the way to the Nine Heavens realm, I was forced to kill a disciple of Yunxiao Palace, said Fang Chen. Hearing that, the white-haired elder laughed out loud. No matter how capable they are, they won't discover that you killed a disciple of Yunxiao Palace in the world gap. And even if they discover you, don't you have me? At the same time, the white-haired elder also guessed that the warship that exploded outside the Nine Heavens realm was probably Fang Chen's masterpiece. I have to say that you are quite bold. You actually dared to do such a thing outside the Nine Heavens realm. However, I like your character. Chapter 41-45. All Supremes could participate in the Supreme Battle of the Nine Heavens realm. However, they couldn't sign up as individuals. They had to sign up as a sect. This meant that if Fang Chen wanted to participate, he had to join a sect temporarily. For the white-haired old man, this was simple. The next day, he took Fang Chen to a small sect not far from where he lived in seclusion. When he saw the sect leader, he went straight to the point. Sect leader Wang, I'm here to ask you for a spot in the Supreme Battle. Hearing this, sect leader Wang patted his chest and promised to give him a spot. Senior, how can I refuse? Sect leader Wang said with a smile. Others didn't know, but he knew that the white-haired old man in front of him was a famous cultivator in the Nine Heavens realm. He was called the White-Robed Ancestor. Billions of years ago, he had reached the limit of the Supreme Realm. At that time, he defeated all the Supremes in the Nine Heavens realm. Eventually, he became famous, but then he chose to live in seclusion. After so many years, he must have reached the Dao realm. At least sect leader Wang couldn't see through the old man's real strength. Giving such a strong cultivator a spot in the Supreme Battle was not a big deal. Besides, the white-robed ancestor would owe him a favor. This was definitely the most important thing. Well, this little friend is from the same branch as an old friend. I'll leave him to you. When the Supreme Battle is over, I'll take him back, said the white-haired old man. Fang Chen greets sect leader Wang. Fang Chen saluted him with his fists. Okay, no problem. After the white-haired old man left, sect leader Wang carefully looked at Fang Chen. A young man who could be valued by the white-robed ancestor must be extraordinary. He thought for a moment and said, Little friend, I'll have to trouble you to stay here for the time being. The Supreme Battle will start in a month, but you have to prepare in advance. Our Cloud Mountain sect is a small sect. We only have 5 spots in total. Before you came, we had already decided. Now that we've forced you to take a spot, the person you replaced will not be convinced. He will definitely come to make trouble for you. Thank you for your reminder, sect leader Wang. I understand. Fang Chen nodded. If he finds trouble with you, tell me immediately. I'll deal with it. That night, the Cloud Mountain sect was shaken by the news. The spot that originally belonged to the 5 great disciples of the Cloud Mountain sect had been given to an outsider. This made the 5 great disciples very angry, especially the disciple who had been replaced. He was so angry that he went directly to Fang Chen's courtyard and threatened to challenge him. Brat, get out here. The person who roared was the disciple who had been replaced by Fang Chen. His name was Lin Yunlong, and he was a peak Supreme Master. He was only 1 step away from becoming an ultimate Supreme Master. Not only was he a disciple of the Cloud Mountain sect, he was also one of the elders. After all, in a small sect like this, a cultivator at this level would be considered a big shot. Soon, Lin Yunlong's voice attracted countless spectators. Most of them were weak disciples. They also wanted to know who had snatched Lin Yunlong's spot. What's wrong? You don't dare to come out. Are you going to be a coward? Lin Yunlong did not care about the sect's rules at all, and directly mocked Fang Chen. The other 4 disciples also came one after another. They grinned and said, "Lin Yunlong, he has already snatched your spot. Why are you still shouting here? Can't you just barge in?" Under the jeering of the other 4 people, Lin Yunlong's rage reached its peak. With a bang, he directly smashed the door of Fang Chen's courtyard and barged into the courtyard. Dong. However, as soon as he entered the courtyard, he felt a terrifying aura. He jumped and left the courtyard again. At this moment, under the gaze of the crowd, Fang Chen walked out and looked at Lin Yunlong. "You are Lin Yunlong?" "Yes, it's me. You snatched my spot. I want to challenge you," Lin Yunlong said angrily. Fang Chen nodded. Sect leader Wang had told him that he could deal with this kind of situation. However, Fang Chen did not think so. Only absolute strength could deter the crowd. Although only Lin Yunlong had expressed his dissatisfaction and wanted to challenge him, it was obvious that the other 4 disciples and the crowd were full of disdain. This was disdain for outsiders and also disdain for snatching the spot. The rule of the supreme battle is that the strong are respected. "I am stronger than you, so it is normal for me to take your spot," Fang Chen said calmly. He was not angry. "Chimph," Lin Yunlong snorted. "Who do you think you are? Do you only know how to talk?" Fang Chen shrugged. "Since you think you are stronger than me, let's compete. If you lose, your spot will be mine. Don't bother me anymore." "What if you lose?" Lin Yunlong asked. "If I lose, I will give you the spot and apologize to you in front of everyone. I will never step into the Cloud Mountain sect again," Fang Chen said. As soon as he said that, the crowd cheered. They could almost see Fang Chen kowtowing and apologizing in front of everyone. This guy is still too young. How dare he look down on Lin Yunlong? Yeah, Lin Yunlong is strong. He can even fight against an extreme supreme. It's over. I think this guy is going to be killed by Lin Yunlong. Boom. Lin Yunlong did not say anything and attacked directly. In an instant, an intense battle began. The 4 disciples curled their lips. They did not believe that Fang Chen could defeat Lin Yunlong. Even the elders who were watching secretly shook their heads. "Sect leader, this battle will prove that your decision is wrong. Yes, if Lin Yunlong wins, I hope you can return the spot to him." Facing the doubts of the elders, sect leader Wang grinned. "I believe in the eyes of the white-robed old ancestor." Boom. 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 Lin Yunlong realized that no matter what methods he used, they were easily countered by his opponent. What was worse was that he could not block his opponent's attacks. After taking 3 consecutive attacks from Fang Chen, Lin Yunlong's internal organs were injured. He could only endure it. His throat moved slightly. A mouthful of blood was already at his throat. In the end, he forced it back down. "No, I have to use my ultimate move." In the next moment, Lin Yunlong used his ultimate move. Everyone's eyes lit up. Was the battle about to end? Indeed, as they thought, the battle was about to end. However, the one who fell was not Fang Chen, but Lin Yunlong, whom they trusted greatly. Boom! A dazzling light shone on the ground. In the explosion, Lin Yunlong's body fell heavily to the ground. Everyone was dumbfounded and dumbfounded. What had happened just now? Why had Lin Yunlong been defeated so thoroughly? Chapter 41-46. Lin Yunlong, the outstanding genius disciple of the Cloud Mountain sect, used his ultimate move and thought that he could easily defeat Fang Chen. However, he was defeated in the end. Everyone was shocked. They looked at Fang Chen with their mouths agape. They could not imagine that the young man in front of them could defeat Lin Yunlong so easily. How could this be? After a short silence, the crowd was in an uproar. Countless people cried out involuntarily. "Impossible, it's absolutely impossible. Cheating, he must have cheated. Senior brother Lin can't be defeated." For a moment, Lin Yunlong's supporters could not accept the fact that he was defeated. They kept shouting to express their dissatisfaction. Even Lin Yunlong's eyes were full of unwillingness. He quickly got up from the ground and glared at Fang Chen. He said coldly, "What's the point of a sneak attack? If you have the ability, defeat me directly." Sure enough, Fang Chen was used to finding excuses for failure. Throughout his journey, countless geniuses had fallen at his feet, thus Lin Yunlong was not the only one to fall to the list. After all, he was the one who took Lin Yunlong's spot. If he wanted to convince everyone, he had to show enough strength. So, after Lin Yunlong expressed his dissatisfaction, Fang Chen took the initiative to attack. He even used his strongest ultimate sword technique. A terrifying finger beam shot out and turned into a dense swordlight in the sky. When the swordlight gathered together, everyone was dumbfounded. It was unbelievable that someone could cultivate their swordsmanship to such an extent. Poochie. Lin Yunlong had just activated the power in his body and wanted to attack when he was shocked to find that the dense sword light had completely locked onto him. No matter how he tried to dodge, he could not escape. In the end, he had no choice but to face the sword light head-on. The result was obvious. The sword light pierced through his body and he was defeated in seconds. Poochie. Lin Yunlong's body fell to the ground. Although there were many bloody holes in his body, Fang Chen did not have the intention to kill him. When the sword light hit him, it changed its course and avoided the vital parts. Lin Yunlong looked miserable, but in fact, he was only slightly injured. At this moment, Fang Chen stood with his hands behind his back like a god of war. The onlookers were dumbfounded. Wasn't this outsider a little too powerful? Under everyone's gazes, Lin Yunlong stood up with difficulty and bowed deeply to Fang Chen, thanking him for not killing him. Then, he turned around and left. Looking at his lonely back, the crowd sighed. Even senior brother Lin, who was so talented, had been defeated. No wonder the higher-ups of the sect were willing to give him a place. The other disciples who were secretly observing also fell into silence after watching. If their positions were switched and they fought against Fang Chen, would they be able to win? This was a question worth pondering. The commotion caused by the battle had attracted the attention of the higher-ups of the sect. However, by the time they arrived, the battle had already ended and Lin Yunlong had already left. What happened? The higher-ups of the sect scolded coldly. They had warned Fang Chen before that the people whose places were taken by him would definitely come to make trouble. Sure enough, they came to make trouble. They prayed that Fang Chen was not injured. Otherwise, they would not be able to explain it to the white-robed ancestor. When they saw that Fang Chen was safe and sound, they were a little stunned. "Are you okay?" the higher-ups of the sect asked. Fang Chen shook his head. "I'm fine." The higher-ups of the sect heaved a sigh of relief, thinking that Lin Yunlong had been scared away by their arrival. However, when they heard from the onlookers that Fang Chen had defeated Lin Yunlong twice in such a short time and made him bow, all the higher-ups were stunned. "You mean, he defeated Lin Yunlong?" Obviously, the higher-ups did not expect that Fang Chen could defeat Lin Yunlong so easily. They tried hard to calm the shock in their hearts and looked at Fang Chen with burning eyes. As expected of the younger generation sent by the white-robed ancestor, he was indeed extraordinary. Being able to defeat Lin Yunlong so easily meant that he was at least at the top of the Supremes. "All right, let's disperse." In the end, the higher-ups asked the crowd to disperse. They all came to Fang Chen's courtyard to ask about the specific situation. "Thank you for your concern. I'm fine." Fang Chen cupped his fists and thanked them. The white-robed ancestor did not embarrass him by sending him to the Cloud Mountain sect. Of course, he did not care about the younger generation of the Cloud Mountain sect. His target was the Supremes of the Cloud Palace. "Fang Chen, we didn't know much about you before and didn't ask much about you. Now it seems that we have underestimated your strength." The Cloud Mountain sect master sighed. "Yes, if the white-robed ancestor didn't send you here, we wouldn't have given you a place. I'd like to ask, how strong is your real combat strength?" Several elders also asked curiously. They also wanted to know how strong Fang Chen's real combat strength was since he could defeat Lin Yunlong in seconds. Facing the question of the higher-ups of the Cloud Mountain sect, Fang Chen spread his hands and did not hide anything. He smiled and said, "If I use my full strength, no disciple of the Cloud Mountain sect can defeat me." As soon as these words came out, the higher-ups of the Cloud Mountain sect were stunned and looked at Fang Chen, dumbfounded. "If I use my trump card, There shouldn't be many supremes of the Nine Heavens realm who can defeat me. The higher-ups of the Cloud Mountain sect were completely dumbfounded. Without using his trump card, he could easily defeat the disciples of the Cloud Mountain sect. And if he used his trump card, there shouldn't be many supremes of the Nine Heavens realm who can defeat him. Wasn't this too exaggerated? At the same time, they were incomparably excited. They had picked up a treasure this time. If Fang Chen could go further in the Supreme Being battle, the Cloud Mountain sect would benefit greatly, and they would be able to obtain even more cultivation resources. Ha ha ha, I didn't expect the white-robed ancestor to send us such a monstrous genius. The patriarch of the Cloud Mountain sect was overjoyed. Fang Chen, you have to hide your strength. Don't let others know. Only at the critical moment can you give the enemy a fatal blow. The great elder reminded him. That's right. The Nine Heavens realm is full of crouching tigers and hidden dragons. You have to be careful. The other elders also said. Thank you for your concern. I will. Fang Chen said. In the Cloud Mountain sect. The news that Fang Chen defeated Lin Yunlong spread quickly. Everyone was stunned. Many people came to ask Lin Yunlong what had happened. Some people who had a good relationship with Lin Yunlong wanted to know the inside story. Lin Yunlong didn't say much. He only said that Fang Chen was very strong. As for how strong, he didn't say. However, from his expression, one could see how helpless he was. After this battle, Fang Chen had gained a firm foothold in the Cloud Mountain sect. Before the Supreme's battle, he had been cultivating in seclusion. Until one day, the patriarch of the Cloud Mountain sect woke him up and told him that the Supreme's battle was coming. They had to go to the Cloud Palace to participate in the competition. Chapter 41-47. The organizer of the Supreme Battle was Yunxiao Palace, the most powerful force in the Nine Heavens realm. There was still half a month before the Supreme Battle, but the forces of the Nine Heavens realm had already started to head to Yunxiao Palace. The Cloud Mountain sect, where Fang Chen was also ready to depart. On this day, Fang Chen came out of seclusion. He exuded a terrifying aura, and his strength had improved. Even the other experts who were participating in the Supreme Battle seemed to feel great pressure. Originally, they had planned to depart today, but suddenly, an uninvited guest came, causing their plan to be delayed. Ha ha ha, Cloud Mountain sect leader, how have you been? A sinister laugh came from outside the gate. Suddenly, the faces of the senior members of the Cloud Mountain sect turned solemn. They already knew who the visitor was. As expected, a middle-aged man dressed in a black robe led a group of Supreme Being disciples into the Cloud Mountain sect in a carefree manner. Fang Chen immediately sensed the monstrous demonic aura of the black-robed man. He also sensed that the man seemed to be hostile to the Cloud Mountain sect. Black Demon, why are you here? The Cloud Mountain sect leader asked coldly. We are going to participate in the Supreme Battle. We have no time to deal with you. The other senior members also scolded the black-robed man, telling him not to mess around and to wait until the Supreme Battle was over. However, the black-robed man obviously came prepared. He smiled sinisterly and looked at Fang Chen and the other four. He said disdainfully, Are these the people you have chosen to participate in the Supreme Battle? Aren't they too weak? Boom. As soon as he finished speaking, the black-robed man slammed his palm. Suddenly, a monstrous demonic aura rushed toward Fang Chen and the others. But at the critical moment, the Cloud Mountain sect leader intervened and dissolved the black-robed man's attack. He said angrily, Black Demon, what do you want? The black-robed man shrugged and said, Every power wants to participate in the Supreme Battle. Unfortunately, due to certain reasons, our sect was implicated and didn't have the right to participate. So, I could only search elsewhere. Didn't I find you here? The Cloud Mountain sect leader was furious. What? Do you really think that the Cloud Mountain sect is afraid of you if you want to snatch a spot from us? Everyone in the Cloud Mountain sect released their auras and glared at the black-robed man. However, the latter seemed to have predicted this. The bulky man behind him took a step forward and glanced disdainfully at Fang Chen and his crew. Weaklings like you dare to take part in the Nine Heavens Supreme's battle? Aren't you ashamed? It seemed that today's battle was unavoidable. If you want me to leave, that's fine too. Let the younger generation spar with each other. If my side wins 3 out of the 5 battles, then the Cloud Mountain sect's quota will be given to us. You are not qualified to go to the Cloud Mountain Palace. At this point, there was no other way. If they did not get rid of the black-robed man, he would definitely endlessly harass the Cloud Mountain sect. By then, they would miss the opening of the supreme battle. One had to know. The entire Cloud Mountain sect had put in a lot of effort to prepare for the Supreme Being battle. They hoped that their disciples would be able to shine brightly in the Supreme Being battle. All right, I promise you. Sect leader Wang said coldly. However, I hope that you will keep your promise. Otherwise, I don't mind starting a war. The black-robed man shrugged. Don't worry. If we lose, I swear on the Great Tao that I will never step into the Cloud Mountain sect again. Hearing this, sect leader Wang's angry expression finally eased a little. Then, the group of people came to the square. The rules were simple. There were no rules. Unless one side admitted defeat, they had to fight until the end. On the black-robed man's side, the bulky disciple appeared and kept provoking. The Cloud Mountain sect's disciple appeared and crushed the bulky disciple with absolute strength. They won the first battle smoothly. You guys are just SOSO. Sect leader Wang shook his head. Then, the second battle was the same. The Cloud Mountain sect won easily again. Out of the 5 battles, they had won 2 in a row. Sect leader Wang did not believe that they would lose the next 3 battles. Black Demon, your disciple seems to be weak. Sect leader Wang sneered. That was just a warm-up. I purposely let you win 2 battles. The black-robed man waved his hand and sent out his 3rd disciple. Originally, they thought that they would be able to win the 3rd battle smoothly. However, the black-robed man's disciple was so strong that it exceeded everyone's expectations. With just 1 punch, he defeated the Cloud Mountain sect's disciple. TMPH, it's just a loss. Sect leader Wang did not think much of it. However, the 4th battle was also a 1-punch defeat. At this moment, sect leader Wang could not sit still anymore. Did they purposely let them win the first 2 battles? Did the next 3 disciples all have such strong strength? Thinking of this, sect leader Wang turned his head and looked at the black-robed man. The latter had a satisfied smile on his face, as if victory was in his hands. The black-robed man's last disciple did not have a name. However, everyone called him Lang because when he fought, he was as fierce as a wolf. He was also their strongest trump card. On the other hand, the Cloud Mountain sect's disciple was Fang Chen. Although he had defeated Lin Yunlong, the crowd did not think that he would win. You should admit defeat. Lang said coldly. Fang Chen shrugged his shoulders. Why not you? You will die a horrible death. Lang's lips curled up, revealing a creepy smile. At the same time, a wolf howl could be heard from his nostrils. When the black-robed man's disciples saw this scene, they joked. Lang was angry. That guy would be torn to pieces. Sect leader, what should we do? The upper echelons of the Cloud Mountain sect panicked. They had previously said that if they lost, they would have to give up their spot to the black-robed man. In the 3rd and 4th battle, the black-robed man's disciples showed fighting strength that was not weaker than an extreme supremacy. They were too strong. Even sect leader Wang might not be able to win against them. As for the 5th battle, Lang gave off an extremely shocking feeling. It was as if he was born to fight. The ferocious aura on his body was terrifying. For a moment, the pressure was on Fang Chen. The other 4 disciples were cheering for Fang Chen. Even sect leader Wang secretly transmitted a message to Fang Chen, telling him to be careful. After all, this was a battle that concerned the fate of the entire Cloud Mountain sect. However, Fang Chen's reply made sect leader Wang even more shocked. Sect leader Wang, don't worry. My opponent is just a show-off. I can handle it. Moreover, I will definitely win this battle. Fang Chen transmitted a message. Although the Cloud Mountain sect gave him a spot because of the white-robed old ancestor, he was still the one who benefited from it. This battle would be considered as returning a favor to sect leader Wang. Roar. Lang howled towards the sky. The aura on his body was constantly rising. The square was silent. No one dared to make a sound. Their eyes were fixed on Lang in the arena. However, facing such a dangerous situation, Fang Chen stretched his body. You're just SOSO. Chapter 41-48. 5 matches, 3 wins and 2 losses to fight for a spot in the supreme battle. In fact, the Cloud Mountain sect could totally ignore such an unreasonable request. However, the Black Demon came prepared. If they didn't agree, he would definitely continue to harass them. The Cloud Mountain sect would be delayed and miss the supreme battle. Therefore, they had no choice but to do so. No one would have thought that the Cloud Mountain sect would win the first and second matches so easily. However, the Black Devil's disciples seemed to have changed completely in the third and fourth matches. Their methods were incomparably brutal and they easily defeated the Cloud Mountain sect's disciples. The moment Fang Chen stepped onto the arena, the higher-ups of the Cloud Mountain sect were all nervous. After all, no one would feel at ease leaving the fate of the Cloud Mountain sect in the hands of a stranger who had just arrived a few days ago. However, there was no other way. Now that they were forced to do something beyond their abilities, they could only place all their hopes on Fang Chen. However, after Fang Chen sent a message to the Cloud Mountain sect master, the latter went from being worried to being calm and even had a trace of anticipation. The people brought by the white-robed ancestor shouldn't be too bad, right? Since he was so confident, could it be that he really had a trump card? In the arena, no matter how terrifying Lang's aura was, Fang Chen was indifferent. He even provoked Lang verbally. You're just SOSO. This casual sentence caused everyone on the Black Demon's side to be instantly enraged. Even Lang, who was in the arena, glared at Fang Chen with bloodshot eyes. He gritted his teeth and said, "Brat, you will regret this." Lang didn't want to waste any more time. He wanted to kill Fang Chen as soon as possible. Boom! A wolf's howl sounded. Lang was very fast, as if he was a real wolf. He appeared behind Fang Chen like a ghost and slammed his palm, wanting to smash Fang Chen's head. However, when his palm was about to touch Fang Chen's head, he suddenly found something strange. Bang! His palm struck empty air, and everyone was stunned. That was an illusion. Just as Lang was in a daze, Fang Chen's figure flashed. He leaped up and arrived behind Lang. Giving him a taste of his own medicine, Fang Chen slammed his palm onto Lang's head. Ah! A miserable shriek came out from the wolf's mouth as its body fell to the ground. The Black Demon stood up and clenched his fists. He was furious. However, the higher-ups of the Cloud Mountain sect were not to be trifled with. This was a formal competition. They would not allow anyone to break the rules. At the same time, Sect Master Wang was also watching the Black Demon vigilantly. If he made any strange movements, he would immediately protect Fang Chen. You are courting death. After the wolf rapidly increased in strength, its eyes turned scarlet as it glared at Fang Chen. It unleashed its strongest attack and attacked again. However, to everyone's shock, they discovered, no matter how ferocious the wolf's attack was, Fang Chen was able to withstand it without batting an eyelid. Moreover, every time he counterattacked, he was able to effectively hit the wolf's vital point. Just like that, Wolf attacked 5 times. His abdomen was almost pierced through. After the final collision, his body curled up on the stage, losing all combat strength. Just this. Fang Chen's disdainful voice echoed in the square. The people of the Cloud Mountain sect were cheering. On the other hand, the people of the Black Demon sect were extremely solemn. A few people brought the injured wolf back. After the Black Demon sect checked his body, he was furious. It was just a friendly exchange. Don't you think you are too cruel? Fang Chen did not say anything. Instead, Sect Master Wang stood up. What? Who was the one who said that as long as he did not admit defeat, he would fight to the end? I don't think I heard him admit defeat. That's right. Can't you afford to play? If you want to go back on your words, the Cloud Mountain sect will accompany you to the end. Many elders also glared at the Black Demon. For a moment, the Black Demon was in a dilemma. After weighing the pros and cons, he swung his sleeves and left. This is not over. After the Black Demon and the others left, everyone's eyes fell on Fang Chen. Obviously, They did not expect Fang Chen to be so strong. Sorry, I was biased against you. It was my fault. A few disciples came forward and apologized to Fang Chen. Although Fang Chen had defeated Lin Yunlong, they were still biased against him. They thought that it was too much for an outsider to snatch the quota of the Cloud Mountain sect. However, after experiencing what had happened, their hearts were filled with respect for Fang Chen. Moreover, if Fang Chen had not turned the tide, the Cloud Mountain sect would have lost this round. Once they lost, the quota of the supreme battle would be gone, and the future of the Cloud Mountain sect would be gone. Fang Chen, you did well. Sect Master Wang also came forward and praised him generously. Deep in his heart, he was grateful to the white-robed old ancestor. The latter had given them a treasure. According to the strength that Fang Chen had displayed, they guessed that Fang Chen's combat strength should be comparable to an extreme supreme, or even stronger. He might be able to make it to the top 10 in this supreme battle. Ha ha ha, the Cloud Mountain sect will depend on you for this supreme battle. I hope you can make it to the top 10. The higher the ranking of the disciples, the better the rewards they would receive from the sect. They only dared to think about the top 10. As for the top 5, top 3, or even first place, they did not dare to think about it. After all, the supreme realm of the Cloud Mountain sect was the top in the 9 heavens realm. However, Fang Chen did not care. He participated in this supreme battle to train himself and break through to the extreme supreme realm as soon as possible. Then, he could get the treasure that the white-robed old ancestor had left for the white-robed old ancestor. Moreover, the supreme realm was not his goal. His goal was the Tao realm, or even a higher realm. I will work hard, Fang Chen said with a smile. At the foot of the Cloud Mountain sect, the black demon was furious and almost went berserk. Lang had already woken up, but he was too injured to walk. Master, I am sorry. Lang apologized weakly. Tempage, you are a bunch of good-for-nothings. The black demon scolded. He thought that he could win the 3 battles, but who knew that someone would come out of nowhere? Master, we know the Cloud Mountain sect very well. That person should not be a disciple of the Cloud Mountain sect. Someone said. The black demon waved his hand. So what? We still lost. Then what should we do next? A disciple asked. What can we do? Carry out the second plan. Gather other people and kill the people of the Cloud Mountain sect on the way to the Cloud Mountain Palace. The black demon's face was ferocious, revealing a sinister expression. After that, he led the group of disciples and left quietly. The black demon's challenge was just a small interlude. After that, the Cloud Mountain sect regained its peace. Sect leader Wang personally led the 5 disciples who participated in the supreme battle and left the sect for the Cloud Mountain Palace. Chapter 41-49. The 9 heavens realm was divided and extremely chaotic. However, there was a giant force that no one dared to compete with. That was the Yunxiao Palace. It was strange that the Yunxiao Palace had not started a war for many years. They also turned a blind eye to the chaotic situation in the 9 heavens realm. Even so, no one dared to act rashly in front of the Yunxiao Palace. This time, the Sky Cloud Palace's Battle of the Supremes made countless factions overjoyed, as the rewards were simply too generous. Moreover, there was a chance to become a subordinate force of the Yunxiao Palace and get the support of the Yunxiao Palace. This was the dream of all forces. The Black Demon's sect was a small one. There were not many disciples in the sect, but they colluded with some members of the Hydra organization and kept killing and robbing other people's cultivation resources. They were kings in the chaos. Now, they were eyeing the Cloud Mountain sect. Although the Black Demon lost the battle between the disciples, they would not give up. They gathered a large number of people and intercepted them on the only way to the Yunxiao Palace. The Cloud Mountain sect and the Yunxiao Palace crossed the entire 9 heavens realm. The distance was too far. Just the space teleportation formation alone had to be changed 3 times. Moreover, the 3rd space teleportation formation could only take them to a small city at the foot of the Yunxiao Palace. After that, they had to walk to the Yunxiao Palace. The Black Demon was ready to intercept them outside the small city. After half a month, Fang Chen, and sect leader Wang finally arrived at the small city at the foot of the Yunxiao Palace. "Let's stay here tonight and leave early tomorrow morning," said sect leader Wang. However, Fang Chen reminded him, "Sect leader Wang, I suggest that we travel through the night. The Black Devil lost in the previous spar, so he won't let it go so easily. He might intercept us outside the city, so we have to catch him off guard." Hearing this, sect leader Wang nodded. He had not thought of this. "Okay, then let's go." After that, the Cloud Mountain sect disguised themselves and quietly left the city under the cover of the night. Early the next morning, the Black Demon led people to ambush outside the city. According to the information they had received, the Cloud Mountain sect should be out of the city early in the morning. "Why are they not here yet?" asked the Black Demon impatiently. "Sect Master, I'll go ask around." A disciple quickly went to find out the news. After a while, he ran back, panting, and reported to the Black Demon, "Master, it's not good. The people of the Cloud Mountain sect went to the Cloud Palace overnight. I'm afraid they are already at the top of the mountain." Hearing this, the Black Demon went berserk. Damn it! He was so angry that he happened to see a sect passing by. He immediately gave the order to seize all the cultivation resources of this sect and then left. The news quickly reached sect leader Wang's ears. He sighed with emotion. Fortunately, he had listened to Fang Chen's suggestion and traveled through the night to catch Black Demon off guard. He did not give Black Demon a chance to attack him. "This Black Demon," sect leader Wang said coldly. At this moment, the group had already arrived at the entrance of Cloudy Palace. "Who are you?" the guard asked. "We are from the Cloud Mountain sect. We are here to participate in the supreme battle." Sect leader Wang took out his sect leader token to prove his identity. Then, the guards let him in. One of the guards even led them to the resting area. After passing rows of independent courtyards, the guard led them to a huge square. Looking carefully, the square was divided into countless areas. Each area was a sect's resting area. "This is your resting area. Don't wander around if you have nothing to do," the guard reminded them. After the guard left, Fang Chen curled his lips. A small sect had no right to speak. The resting area was a public area. A large sect's resting area was an independent courtyard. He sighed. This was a world where the strong preyed on the weak and the strong were respected. No matter where you were, as long as your fist was strong, others would fear you and respect you. However, he did not have any other thoughts. Anyway, he just wanted to participate in the supreme battle to train himself and improve his cultivation as soon as possible. As for other things, he did not care at all. Moreover, he did not plan to develop in the Nine Heavens realm for long. He just followed the wishes of the black-robed ancestor and came here to take what belonged to him. In the Void Cavern, in the Peach Blossom Forest. After an unknown period of time, Fang Chen's real body was sitting cross-legged in the Peach Blossom Forest. He was motionless, allowing the wind and rain to blow and the peach blossoms to fall on his shoulders. He was still as majestic as a mountain. Looking at this scene, the guard could not help but sigh with emotion. This young man's character is not bad. He can actually cultivate peacefully in such a place, the guard said. Voila! At a certain moment, Fang Chen suddenly opened his eyes. Immediately, his whole body was covered in flames. This is... The guard was overjoyed. This was the scene of comprehending the profound mysteries. As expected, the flames on Fang Chen's body disappeared quickly. He returned to normal. Looking at the guard, he smiled and said, "Finally, I have comprehended the third profound mystery of fire." Amazing. As time passed, the guard spent more and more time with Fang Chen. He understood him more and more. He admired Fang Chen for having such perseverance. Of course, the most important thing was that he was very talented. In such a short period of time, he had comprehended 3 profound mysteries of fire. His future was limitless. 3 profound mysteries of fire have made my fire clone stronger. It's just that I'm still one step away from reaching the limit of the supreme realm. Fang Chen whispered. He could sense all the thoughts and actions of the fire clone in the Nine Heavens realm. Currently, the fire clone was in a safe situation. He hoped that he could use this supreme battle to break through and get the item in the hands of the white-robed old ancestor. Thanks to the enlightenment of profound mysteries. Fang Chen grinned. Back then, he had won the truth of profound mysteries in the wager. It had been a great help to him. He had just broken through and was ready to enter the darknet. Buzz. With a thought, Fang Chen's consciousness entered the darknet. His codename in the darknet was the codename of the former disciple of the White Emperor Palace, Blood Mountain. Beep beep beep. Soon, the people of the White Emperor Palace knew that Blood Mountain was online. This time, the people of the White Emperor Palace found someone stronger to get back at him. However, they were rejected by Fang Chen. I refuse. Fang Chen was not a fool. The person they found was obviously stronger than him. How could he accept the challenge? Besides, the rules of the darknet were very restrictive. As long as he did not agree, no one would dare to force him. Under the angry eyes of the people of the White Emperor Palace, Fang Chen went for a stroll. What should we do? Someone asked. Investigate. Find out his real identity at all costs. The people of the White Emperor Palace were furious. Use all your points. Points were good things in the darknet. They could be exchanged for countless treasures and were the only hard currency. Investigating a person's identity required a lot of points. But now, the people of the White Emperor Palace had no choice but to take revenge. Chapter 4150. Fang Chen used the identity of Blood Mountain to wander around the darknet and inquire about the 3,000 realms of the Great Path. Occasionally, he would hear that a sector lord of a certain realm had broken through. He also heard that a Heavenly Path realm expert's cave inheritance had appeared somewhere. Many people went to fight for it, and there were many casualties. In short, the dark net should be the fastest way to get information. Suddenly, Fang Chen passed by a park and heard two people chatting. He didn't pay much attention at first, but when he heard the words Yunxiao Palace, his expression changed slightly. Then, he stopped and heard them talking about the supreme battle of the Nine Heavens realm. Have you heard? The supreme battle of the Nine Heavens realm has started, the man in white said with a smile. Of course I have. Although I'm not from the Nine Heavens realm, I'm not far from the Nine Heavens realm, the man in black said calmly. The man in white shook his head. Others may not know, but do you think I don't know? You are the strongest supreme realm expert in the 3 dragon realms. Why, don't you want to try? The two of them had a good relationship in reality. They were good brothers who had gone through life and death together. The man in black was the strongest supreme realm expert in the 3 dragon realms next door to the Nine Heavens realm. Many years ago, he had stepped into the supreme realm. All these years, he and his good brothers had been exploring various life-forbidden zones, looking for opportunities to break through. But they all ended in failure. Not interested. The man in black shook his head. His words were full of disdain for the supreme battle of the Nine Heavens realm. I say, Old Black, sometimes you are too conceited. The 3 dragon realms is about the same size as the Nine Heavens realm. You are the strongest supreme realm expert in the 3 dragon realms. Maybe there will be an opponent in the Nine Heavens realm? The man in white continued, what if you meet an opponent who can force you to use all your strength? Maybe you can break through to the Dao realm smoothly? Hearing that, the man in black's expression changed, and he nodded in agreement. In that case, let's try. I hope the supreme realm experts of the Nine Heavens realm won't disappoint me, the man in black said. After hearing that, Fang Chen took the initiative to go forward and befriend the two. Are you two going to participate in the supreme battle of the Nine Heavens realm? Fang Chen's appearance surprised the two people. Then, the man in white clothes asked, what? Don't tell me you're from the Nine Heavens realm too? The black-clothed man coldly looked at Fang Chen, ready to attack at any time. Fang Chen shrugged. Don't misunderstand. I was just passing by and heard that the two of you were going to participate in the supreme battle, so I came over to say hello. After that, Fang Chen told them who he was. He told them he was also in the continent of the Nine Heavens, and he was going to participate in the Battle of the Supremes. I look forward to meeting the two of you in the supreme battle, Fang Chen said with a smile. The black-robed man shook his head. You're too weak. The man in white nodded. It's best if we don't meet. Otherwise, you'll be crippled by me. However, Fang Chen could sense that the two of them didn't have much hostility toward him. They didn't know each other, so they didn't have any right to speak. After chatting for a while, they left. Fang Chen looked at their backs and grinned. The strongest supremes in the 3 dragon realms? He was looking forward to meeting the strongest supremes in the 3 dragon realms. After his heart force reached the 2nd level, he had been stuck at the bottleneck. Maybe this was an opportunity. Fang Chen's original body was either comprehending the mystery in the peach blossom forest or asking for information on the dark net. He gradually learned some of the history of the 3,000 realms of the Great Path. The fire clone followed the Cloud Mountain sect to participate in the supreme battle of the 9 Heavens realm. The strongest force in the 9 Heavens realm, the Cloud Palace, was overcrowded these days. However, small forces like the Cloud Mountain sect could only rest in the open-air square. Those courtyards were for the major forces to rest. From time to time, disciples of major forces would enter the courtyard, attracting the envy of many cultivators in the square. Look, is that fast blade Mu Chenglin? Suddenly, there was a commotion in the square. Everyone's eyes were attracted by the voice. Even Fang Chen turned his head to look. What came into view was a burly man in purple. The most eye-catching thing about him was the rusty saber on his back. Fast blade Mu Chenglin? Fang Chen whispered. A disciple of the Cloud Mountain sect explained to him in detail. It is said that this swift blade Mu Chenglin has stepped into the ultimate supremacy realm a long time ago. Do you see the rusty saber on his back? Fang Chen nodded. The disciple continued, it is said that in the past 100 years, no one in the supreme supremacy realm could force Mu Chenglin to use the saber. So, the saber was rusty? Of course not. Fang Chen could see that the rusty saber was just an illusion. No one dared to underestimate the saber. That was Mu Chenglin's real trump card. Mu Chenglin stopped and glanced at the disciples in the square with his cold eyes. Finally, he retracted his gaze and entered the courtyard indifferently. It could be seen from his eyes that he did not treat these people as opponents at all. This Mu Chenglin is said to be a popular candidate for the top 3 this time. I was lucky enough to see Mu Chenglin use the fast blade technique. No one can defeat him. It's amazing. If I can fight with Mu Chenglin, I'm willing to die. In the square, everyone was talking about fast blade Mu Chenglin. Soon, another genius arrived. It was a woman in a red dress. Although she was young, she had a good figure and gave people the feeling of a noble lady. Every step she took, she exuded an infinite charm that made people addicted to it and unable to extricate themselves. However, only Fang Chen was not confused by the charm. His eyes were clear from the beginning to the end. The lady in the red dress let out a soft cry of surprise. Clearly, she was surprised that there was someone who could resist her charming aura. Interesting. Unfortunately, the other party was only a disciple of a weak sect and was not worthy of her attention. She just glanced at him and turned to enter the courtyard. That was close. So this is the Lady of Charms, Qin Qing? Everyone gasped as they recovered from the effects of the charms. If they had fallen into the charm during the battle, they would have died. Charming woman, Qin Qing? Fang Chen muttered this name. His intuition told him that Qin Qing's strength should be much stronger than that so-called quick blade Mu Chenglin. He did not know why, but he always felt that Qin Qing was hiding an extremely terrifying aura. He even guessed that Qin Qing might not be from the 9 Heavens realm, but from a more powerful realm. Then, Fang Chen saw some old acquaintances. To be exact, they were 2 people he had just met on the darknet. One of them was called Wang Xian, known as the strongest supreme being in the 3 dragon realms, and the other was his good brother, Bai Long. Chapter 4151. The Yunxiao Palace had been bustling recently. All the top forces of the 9 Heavens realm had gathered here. Especially the battles between the top geniuses. Many people were looking forward to it. On the square, every time a genius walked over, they would discuss among themselves. Fang Chen was also among the crowd, observing each potential opponent. Mu Chenglin. Suddenly, the strongest supreme being of the 3 dragon world, Wang Xian, stepped forward with a long spear in his hand. Standing in the middle of the square, he looked at Mu Chenglin and shouted, "I heard that no one has forced you to use your saber in the past 100 years. Boom. Suddenly, the man in the purple robe stood up. A terrifying aura was emitted from his body. His eyes were glowing with a deadly light as he stared at Wang Xian and said, "What? Do you want to try?" Geniuses were all prideful, and Mu Chenglin was no exception. He had always been a loner, and his personality was relatively cold. He never took the initiative to interact with others. As long as he encountered something unhappy, he would use his fists to speak. Obviously, Wang Xian's tone had made him extremely unhappy, so he immediately retorted, "Your saber is rusty. Can you still use it?" Wang Xian's battle-intent soared. He pointed his long spear at the sky, not afraid of Mu Chenglin at all. Beside him, White Dragon was also cheering for his good brother. "Quick blade Mu Chenglin, my good brother Wang Xian is the strongest supreme being in the 3 dragon realms. I wonder if your rusty blade can withstand his spear." The woman in the red dress, Qin Qing, who was not far away, also stopped in her tracks and looked at the two of them with interest. "Wang Xian?" Qin Qing's eyes flickered. Her beautiful body was emitting a charming aura that was irresistible. However, at that moment, everyone's attention was focused on Mu Chenglin. They were all waiting for his response. Boom! Mu Chenglin's body flashed and turned into a gust of wind. In an instant, he was in front of Wang Xian. He then activated the strength in his body and threw out a punch. The punch was extremely powerful. It was enough to kill a mid-level supreme being. Even a high-level supreme being would be severely injured if he took it head-on. Mu Chenglin has made his move. He didn't use his saber. Such a powerful force. I don't even have the courage to face him. The crowd in the square was in an uproar. Facing the strongest honorable of the 3 dragon realms, Mu Chenglin did not draw his saber. Instead, he spoke with his fists. Boom! Boom! He threw out 3 punches in a row. The power of each punch was enough to topple mountains and overturn seas. Fortunately, Cloud Palace had powerful restrictions. Their power fluctuations were unable to spread out. Crack! However, contrary to everyone's expectations, Wang Xian did not use his spear when Mu Chenglin did not draw his saber. He used his own physical strength to resist Mu Chenglin's 3 punches. Wang! When the terrifying fist aura dissipated, Wang Xian stood calmly in the square. The spear in his hand emitted a terrifying sound. He was unharmed. Even his clothes showed no signs of being torn. Seeing this, Mu Chenglin withdrew his fists and stopped attacking. He nodded at Wang Xian and said, "You are very strong, worthy of me drawing my blade." In the past 100 years, no one had been able to force Mu Chenglin to draw his blade. But now, he had personally admitted that Wang Xian was qualified to make him draw his blade. The crowd went into an uproar, waiting for the scene of Mu Chenglin drawing his saber. Heavens, is Mu Chenglin finally going to draw his blade after 100 years? How fast is his saber? Even Fang Chen was a little curious as to how much power was contained in Mu Chenglin's rusty battle saber. However, he felt that even if Mu Chenglin drew his blade, he would not be Wang Xian's match. Let's call it a day. When the supreme battle officially begins, I will show you the power of my blade if we meet. After saying that, Mu Chenglin's figure flashed and returned to the courtyard. Everyone looked at each other. They were at daggers drawn just a moment ago. Why did they suddenly stop fighting? Mu Chenglin does not want to draw his blade. Obviously, he does not want to expose his trump card in advance. It's a pity that we can't see Mu Chenglin draw his blade in advance. However, isn't Wang Xian from 3 dragon realms too strong? He can actually force Mu Chenglin to such an extent. Looks like this supreme battle is destined to be exciting. How was it? Seeing that Mu Chenglin had left, Wang Xian did not continue to pursue him. He put away his spear and walked to Bai Long's side. The latter asked. "He's a strong opponent, but the final winner is me," Wang Xian said. This was the pride that belonged to the strongest person in 3 dragon realms. I've long heard of the strongest person in 3 dragon realms, Wang Xian. Today, I see that you really live up to your reputation. Suddenly, A bell-like voice rang out. Everyone turned around and saw that it was the woman in a red dress. She was known as the charming woman, Qin Qing. She walked towards Wang Xian with light steps. Every step she took could make people lose control and fall into a frenzy. The seductive aura on her body had already reached an extremely high level. Very few people could resist it, and Bai Long was no exception. He was completely captivated. However, at the crucial moment, Wang Xian pushed him and woke him up. The charming woman, Qin Qing? Wang Xian looked at Qin Qing and said, as expected of the charming woman, "Your charm is really hard to guard against." Qin Qing shook her head. "This supreme battle is full of crouching tigers and hidden dragons. Before you, there were also people who could ignore my charm." While speaking, Qin Qing glanced at Fang Chen from the corner of her eyes. But everyone ignored him directly. What a joke! Even if someone could ignore Qin Qing's charm, they should be at the level of Mu Chenglin. For everyone, Fang Chen was now a newcomer in their eyes. "I hope I can experience your charm in the supreme battle," Wang Xian said with a smile. Qin Qing and Wang Xian chatted for a while and then left. Wang Xian and his good friend Bai Long went back to their courtyard to rest. The many supreme warriors in the square were not worthy of their attention at all. Who do you think will get first place in this supreme battle? Getting first place meant that they were the strongest in the Nine Heavens realm. Even Wang Xian had come to participate in the battle. This time, the first place would be different from the past. Once first place was obtained, it would definitely be the strongest supreme warrior in the neighboring realms. Wang Xian is very strong, but I don't think he can get first place. I think Mu Chenglin has a hidden killer move. Everyone was talking one after another, and they were all discussing. Only Fang Chen was thinking about how to win against Wang Xian. Mu Chenglin gave him a deep and unfathomable feeling, and Qin Qing gave him a wonderful feeling. Only Wang Xian gave him a much stronger sense of oppression in the real world than in the darknet. He was regarded as the strongest opponent in this supreme battle. However, it was useless to think so much now. Although Fang Chen had not reached the level of supreme warrior, he could fight against people of a higher level. And he also had a killer move, which was the sky-splitting axe. It was just that he did not want to expose it until the critical moment. Moreover, his heart force could also turn the situation around at the critical moment. Chapter 4152. There were 3,000 worlds of the Great Path in the vast world gap. Every world had its own unique resources. Those who could become the master of a world were almost all geniuses. Fang Chen was the master of 2 worlds. His luck had reached an extremely high level. His original body was comprehending occult mysteries in the cave residence of a Dao realm expert, while his fire doppelganger was training in the mortal world. Today, his original body had comprehended something, so he directly entered the darknet. Whoosh! As soon as he entered the darknet, he happened to meet Wang Xian, the strongest supreme master in the 3 dragon fields. Brother Wang. After a while, Fang Chen and Wang Xian had become very familiar with each other. They greeted each other naturally. Brother Blood Mountain. Wang Xian also smiled when he saw Fang Chen. Brother Wang, you're smiling so happily. Did something good happen? Fang Chen asked. You don't say. There is something good, Wang Xian said. Not long ago, I heard that there was going to be a supreme battle in the Nine Heavens realm. I didn't want to participate, but my brother Bai Long said that if I met a worthy opponent, I could gain some experience, so I went. Speaking of this, Wang Xian smiled and said, You don't say. I met a few good opponents in the Yunxiao Palace in the Nine Heavens realm. Oh! Congratulations, Brother Wang, Fang Chen said. He already knew who Wang Xian was talking about. It was none other than Mu Chenglin, the charming woman Qin Qing, and the others. By the way, do you have any plans recently? Wang Xian suddenly asked. Fang Chen shook his head. Wang Xian continued, the darknet recently opened a new mystery land. Anyone can form a team to participate. Each team can have a maximum of 5 people. I'm going to explore it. Do you want to join my team? Oh! Fang Chen was a little surprised. Although the darknet was virtual and everyone here was in a mental state, the experience gained here could also benefit the real body. So this was the biggest reason why the Darknet was so popular. The Darknet would often open up new secret realms to temper cultivators. They would place some heavenly treasures inside for people to fight for. It just so happened that Fang Chen had reached a bottleneck in his comprehension of profound mysteries. He wanted to give it a try. Thank you, Brother Wang. Fang Chen cupped his fists and thanked him. Wang Xian waved his hand. You're too polite. Let's go. I'll bring you to meet the team members. With that, Wang Xian pulled Fang Chen to an illusory courtyard. There were 3 illusory figures waiting inside. When they saw Wang Xian, they all stood up. Fang Chen also knew one of them. It was Wang Xian's good brother, White Dragon. Everyone, let me introduce you. This is Blood Mountain, the last member of our team. Wang Xian introduced him to the 3 of them. Brother Blood Mountain. White Dragon grinned. However, the other 2 frowned slightly. They seemed to be dissatisfied with Fang Chen. Brother Wang, it's said that there are several strong teams in this new secret realm. Shouldn't we review them when we recruit? The burly man said. Yeah, what if the people we recruit drag us down? The other person also said. One had to pay enough points to enter the secret realms in the Darknet. Once one failed, he would be forced to leave the secret realm and get nothing. The 2 men did not know Fang Chen and did not know his background. Therefore, they were dissatisfied with him. You too, Brother Blood Mountain is very strong. After all, Wang Xian was the strongest supreme master in the 3-dragon realm. His perception was very strong. Although he had not fought with Fang Chen, his intuition told him that this person was extraordinary. The most important thing in a team is harmony. Brother Blood Mountain was personally invited by Wang Xian. Please give him face, White Dragon said. Fang Chen smiled bitterly. No matter where he went, he would be looked down upon. However, he was used to it. However, he could not put Wang Xian in a difficult position. Therefore, he took the initiative to stand up. Looking at the 2 men, he asked, since you 2 don't believe in my strength, should I show it to you? Humph, the most important thing is to know your own strength, the burly man said. However, before he could finish, Fang Chen waved his hand and said, Blood Mountain, please. Seeing this, the 2 men were a little surprised. Was he challenging them? Wang Xian and White Dragon wanted to stop him, but it was too late. The burly man sneered, all right, since you want to die, I'll fulfill your wish. As soon as he finished speaking, the burly man's figure flashed. His illusory figure carried a terrifying power and rushed towards Fang Chen. Too weak. Fang Chen shook his head. If it was before, it might be difficult for him to face the burly man. However, it was different now. He had comprehended several occult of fire. In addition to his heart power, he could defeat the burly man in a second. Boom. As the 3 men were stunned, Fang Chen made a shocking move. He took the burly man's attack head-on. Brother Blood Mountain, be careful, White Dragon reminded. Boom. A deafening sound reverberated in the minds of the 3 men. When the dust settled, the 3 men were dumbfounded. The one who fell on the ground was not Fang Chen, but the burly man. This, the person who had previously questioned Fang Chen's strength, stuttered, unable to speak. As for White Dragon and Wang Xian, their eyes lit up. They gave Fang Chen a thumbs up. Brother Blood Mountain, you're amazing. I didn't expect you to hide your strength. White Dragon patted Fang Chen's shoulder. The burly man was very strong. He had defeated an ultimate supreme before. However, he was defeated by Fang Chen in a second. What did this mean? It meant, Fang Chen's combat strength had reached the ultimate level. Wang Xian even wanted to spar with Fang Chen. However, he was refused by Fang Chen. Brother Wang, proper business is more important. Besides, there will always be time for us to spar. In fact, in the real world, in the Yunxiao Palace of the 9 Heavens realm, the 2 men would definitely meet in the upcoming supreme battle. It would be fun to have a good fight in the real world. Well, I forgot myself, Wang Xian said. Then he turned to look at the 2 men and asked, now, Brother Blood Mountain, are you qualified to join our team? The burly man got up from the ground and gave Fang Chen a thumbs up. Brother, I, Liu Cheng, admire you. I hope you don't take the previous misunderstanding to heart. The other man also approved of Fang Chen. Ha ha ha, with Brother Blood Mountain, our team's strength will reach a higher level. Maybe our team can reach the top 3 in this trip to the new secret land, White Dragon said. Be ambitious. Not only to reach the top 3, but if there's a chance, it would be best if we can win the first place. The first time the new secret land opened, the top 3 would be rewarded handsomely. If they won the first place, they would be able to enter and leave the secret land unconditionally for the next year. No one could resist this temptation. Chapter 4153. Darknet. Every time a new secret realm opened, there would be many teams trying to explore it, because the top few teams could obtain a large amount of cultivation resources. This was a huge temptation for cultivators. Fang Chen's strength was successfully recognized by the team. Now, Wang Xian's team was ready to set off at any time. What should we call our team? Bai Long suddenly asked. Every team had their own name, but their team didn't have one yet. Before entering the new secret realm, they needed to register. I think we should call ourselves the Supreme Team. The burly man Liu Cheng grinned. Wang Xian was the strongest Supreme in the 3 dragon fields, so it was reasonable for the team to be called the Supreme Team. Wang Xian shrugged, then thought for a moment and said, let's call our team the Assassin Team. Good, that's a good name. Soon, the team name was finalized. The 5 members were very satisfied with the name Assassin Team. Soon, Bai Long finished the registration. The next day, on the square of the Darknet, a loud bell suddenly rang. Fang Chen and the others knew that the new secret realm was about to open. They came to the square. Humph. As soon as he arrived at the plaza, Fang Chen felt a burning gaze directed at him. He turned around and saw that it was the people from the White Emperor Palace in the White Cloud Realm. He didn't expect that they would also form a team to enter the new mystic realm. Is that guy the one who killed the disciples of White Emperor Palace? The person beside him asked. Humph, he's really lucky to be with Wang Xian. This is going to be difficult. Someone recognized Wang Xian and said in a low voice. Wang Xian's battle strength was recognized in the Darknet. He was extremely powerful, and ordinary people didn't dare to provoke him. So what? They'll be separated when they enter the new secret realm. We'll find him alone and kill him. The person from White Emperor Palace said coldly. Brother Blood Mountain. Bai Long also noticed Fang Chen's strange behavior. He followed his gaze and saw the fierce eyes of the people from White Emperor Palace. Nothing. Fang Chen shrugged. Wang Xian told him not to worry. As long as he was here, the people from White Emperor Palace wouldn't dare to cause trouble. Secret realm, open. Suddenly, an ancient voice came from the square. Then, a huge whirlpool appeared in the void. One after another, illusory figures rushed into the whirlpool. Let's go as well. Wang Xian led the team of assassins into the whirlpool. Seeing this, the White Emperor Palace's group also followed closely behind and entered the vortex. After a while, the square was empty. Voila! Space distorted and Fang Chen felt a flash of white light. Then, he appeared in an illusory world. Everything here was different from the outside world. Even the smell of blood lingered in the air. Is this the newly opened secret realm? Fang Chen asked. This secret realm should have been opened by an expert of the Tao of Slaughter. Wang Xian spoke. He could clearly sense the lingering scent of blood in the air. It was simply too powerful. The person who opened up the mystic realm was at least a Tao realm expert, or even a heavenly Tao realm expert. How strong is the Hydra organization? This was the question in Fang Chen's heart. Logically speaking, the Hydra organization was only suspected to be an interstellar bandit group active in the world gap. However, as he gained a deeper understanding, he realized that the Hydra organization was not simple. Just the establishment of the Darknet was not something an ordinary person could do. Furthermore, not only did the Hydra organization establish the Darknet, but they also allowed their members to enter it to train. They even opened up new secret realms from time to time to help their members train. What's the purpose of doing this? Fang Chen thought to himself. However, with his current strength, it was impossible for him to reach the core of the matter. He couldn't even come into contact with the upper echelons of the Hydra organization, let alone understand the organization's situation. Forget it. Anyway, it's not harmful to me for now. I can still train. Fang Chen shrugged and stopped thinking. After all, the Darknet also provided countless information to its members. As long as one had enough points, they could obtain anything they wanted. They could even issue assassination missions. Of course, the prerequisite was points. Points were very difficult to obtain in the Darknet. Let's go quickly. Wang Xian's voice sounded. Immediately, the 5 members of the assassin team quickly moved forward and left the wasteland. Not long after they left, the White Emperor Palace's team also appeared. They looked around and found no traces. Then, they found a direction and chased after it. Remember, don't fight in the secret realm. Otherwise, you'll be surrounded by others, Wang Xian reminded them. Now that the 5 of them were gathered together, they had nothing to fear. However, if they were separated, they would be in danger. At the same time that the Darknet secret realm opened, Fang Chen's flame clone also officially participated in the supreme battle at the Cloud Palace. Because Wang Xian and other experts had the right to advance directly, they did not need to participate in the tedious elimination rounds. However, Fang Chen was different. He was not famous, and his entry came from the Cloud Mountain sect. He had to participate in the elimination rounds one by one. Only by reaching the end could he enter the finals. The Flame Clone's first battle was against a high-level Supreme Master, who was easily defeated by Fang Chen. Although this scene attracted the attention of some people, more people felt that it was only because their fighting styles clashed. Fang Chen's performance could only be considered commendable and there was nothing outstanding about it. Those big shots chatted and did not pay attention to Fang Chen at all. He was still invisible. However, there was one person who was secretly paying attention to Fang Chen. Qin Qing, the charming woman. Fang Chen was one of the few people who could resist her charm. Qin Qing thought that Fang Chen must have hidden his strength in this battle. There seems to be no such person in the 9 Heavens realm. Qin Qing tried her best to recall the memories in her mind. She wanted to know who this person was. However, in the end, she did not have any information about Fang Chen. I hope to fight with you, Qin Qing muttered to herself. Qin Qing muttered to herself. If the 2 of them were to meet, it was unknown whether or not the other party would be able to resist her full power of charm. However, Qin Qing was very confident in herself. In the following days, Fang Chen fought more and more fiercely. However, every victory gave people the feeling that it was just a fluke. Therefore, no one paid attention to him. In just 3 days, he had slaughtered his way through the qualifiers and easily obtained a spot in the knockout round. As for the Cloud Mountain sect, there were only 3 people left, including Fang Chen. 2 of them had already been eliminated. However, for Assistant Wang, this was already a huge surprise. He could completely accept it. Don't feel any pressure in the elimination round. Do what you can. Chapter 4154. The 9 Heavens realm was much bigger than the empty spirit world. The number of cultivators here was also huge. Countless Supremes participated in the supreme battle. After a few days of selection, most of the cultivators were eliminated. The remaining cultivators entered the knockout stage. Everyone knew that. After entering the knockout stage, there were no weak opponents. One couldn't underestimate their opponents. Otherwise, they might be defeated. Fang Chen naturally understood this principle. He had never underestimated his opponents. He had been carefully observing the fighting habits of every potential opponent, as well as their fighting techniques and secret techniques. This information was extremely important. As the saying goes, know thyself and know thy enemy to be victorious. Because of the rules of the knockout stage, Fang Chen's battle officially started on the 3rd day. His opponent was a genius disciple from a small sect. His name was Wang Zhon, and he was the biggest dark horse in this year's supreme battle. His cultivation was only at the high-level supremes, but his fighting strength was at the peak of the supreme realm. In the selection, There was almost no one who could force him to use his full strength. Moreover, he kept a low profile, hovering on the edge of advancing to the knockout stage. Now, he was facing Wang Zhon in the first round of the knockout stage. This gave sect leader Wang a headache. Be careful. This Wang Zhon is very strong and ruthless. If you can't defeat him, just admit defeat. Don't fight him head-on. Sect leader Wang reminded. He was also afraid that Fang Chen would be crippled by Wang Zhon. After all, this guy was sent by the white-robed old ancestor. If something happened to him, he would be responsible. Brother, you're a little unlucky. You're facing a freak like Wang Zhon in the first round of the knockout stage. Yeah, I've heard of this guy before. He kills people like flies. The remaining 2 disciples of the Cloud Mountain sect patted Fang Chen's shoulder and comforted him. Is he strong? Fang Chen shrugged. Why did everyone think that he would be defeated by Wang Zhon? Shouldn't Wang Zhon be the one worried? Of course he's strong. The disciple of the Cloud Mountain sect was about to introduce Wang Zhon to Fang Chen, but the latter's words made him swallow his words. Stronger than Wang Xian? Fang Chen asked seriously. Brother, there was no way to chat. Who was Wang Xian? He was the strongest supremes in the 3 dragon worlds. He was also a popular candidate for the supreme battle. Although Wang Zhon was strong, he couldn't be compared to Wang Xian. Seeing this, Fang Chen shook his head. How could Wang Zhon's Wang? However, the crowd didn't care about what he was thinking. The moment he and Wang Zhon looked at each other, everyone came to the conclusion that Wang Zhon would definitely win. On the stage, Wang Zhon looked at Fang Chen calmly. The corners of his lips curled up as a look of disdain appeared on his face. Kid, I'll give you a chance. If Wang Zhon, Wang Zhon Zhon Lin. Zhon 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 Zhon. 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 Zhon good, very good. Wang Zhon also didn't expect that the other party would dare to speak to him in such a manner. He was so angry that he couldn't help but say the word good 3 times. Then, Wang Zhon took out his axe. His whole body was emitting a terrifying bloody aura, like a violent lion. Die. Wang Zhon used his strongest technique. He didn't give Fang Chen any chance. He wanted to end the battle quickly. This guy doesn't know how high the sky is. That's right, Wang Zhon kindly reminded him to admit defeat. He actually dared to speak such arrogant words. He is simply courting death. He won't have a good ending if he angers Wang Zhon. The crowd whispered among themselves. They all thought that Fang Chen was doomed. Even if he didn't die, he would be seriously injured. On the stage, the upper echelons of the Cloudy Palace and the leaders of the various sects didn't pay much attention to the battle. Their attention was attracted by the battle of geniuses on the stage. There was only one person who had been paying attention to Fang Chen from the beginning to the end. That was the Lady of Charm, Qin Qing. Wang Zhon is doomed. The moment Fang Chen made his move, Qin Qing already knew that Wang Zhon would definitely lose. That was the truth. Under the attentive gazes of the crowd, Fang Chen blocked Wang Zhon's axe with his bare hands. Then, he used his other fist to fiercely smash Wang Zhon's head with a powerful force. Immediately, Wang Zhon let out a miserable shriek and was directly sent flying out of the stage. Bang! Wang Zhon's burly body fell to the ground, creating a crater. He lost his ability to fight. On the other hand, Fang Chen was unharmed. He stood calmly on the stage. Boom! The onlookers were in an uproar. Everyone cried out in alarm. What had just happened? Why had Wang Zhon been defeated by a single punch? Oh my god, Wang Zhon was defeated. How could this be? Who is that guy? He's too strong. He defeated the number 1 dark horse. Those who thought that Fang Chen would lose felt their faces burning. They felt like they had been slapped in the face. At the same time, their hearts were trembling. This disciple of the Cloud Mountain sect was too strong. Finally, some of the upper echelons on the stage shifted their attention to Fang Chen. Not bad. After a long time, one of them said that word. This kind of evaluation was a great honor for the contestants, but it didn't matter to Fang Chen. You're too monstrous. After Fang Chen walked down from the arena, 2 disciples of the Cloud Mountain sect surrounded him and shouted excitedly. Amazing. You're the first person to convince me, said the other. Sect leader Wang let out a sigh of relief. At the same time, he was even more curious. How strong was Fang Chen? In the crowd, the charming Qin Qing had a resplendent smile on her face. Her beautiful eyes twinkled as she looked at Fang Chen. What a strange guy. The fact that Fang Chen was able to resist her charm was enough to show how extraordinary he was. It was just that the crowd was ignorant and didn't know about it. However, she, Qin Qing, was extremely interested in Fang Chen. Wang Xian, who was next to Qin Qing, frowned. He felt that there was something familiar about Fang Chen, as if he had seen him somewhere before. But soon, he shook his head. His real body had been cultivating in the 3 dragon worlds. His clone had just arrived in the 9 heavens realm. It was impossible for him to know Fang Chen. However, he would never have dreamed that Fang Chen would be here. The person in front of him was Xue Feng from the assassin team. The elimination round continued as usual. However, the assassin team was facing their first crisis in the new mysterious territory of the Darknet. The 5 members of the assassin team had successfully gathered and moved to a safe place as fast as possible. However, the White Emperor Palace's team had found traces and followed them. Wang Xian, we don't want to be your enemy. We only want him, said the leader, pointing at Fang Chen.